What is... Sounded like my microphone is about to fall off the thing there. What is going on, everybody? It is episode 388 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I am here with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, crisis actors. It's Mary. Brett reacted like that because just yesterday I was trying to get my shot fixed here, and my microphone completely, like the stand and all fell off. And it was incredibly traumatic for the both of us.
If it was in a movie, it would have been in the blooper reel.
Yeah, we need to have a PCC blooper reel.
We would need a camera on us at all times, but then we'd turn into like those. Did you see the story about that country singer who's getting accused of like bad stuff with some girl, and apparently like he filmed their encounter with this fan from a closet. He put his phone in a closet to record.
Who was this?
Jimmy Allen or like some country singer, right? And now like two women have come forward.
You better not get it wrong.
Yeah, like I think it was Jimmy Allen, and like basically
that's so
said, like,
creepy. What?
Yeah, and then one of the explanations that somebody tried to give in the comments was like, any guy who hooks up with a girl has to do stuff like that to make sure they don't get accused of stuff that didn't happen. And I was like, what?
I'm pretty sure that's literally illegal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
In and of itself.
Yeah. It boggled my mind because I'm like, really?
Why are you bringing this up now?
Because why was I bringing that up? What were you just talking about there? Something you said like segued
my
me
microphone.
to that. Something you said segued me to that, but I don't know what the hell it was. Could have been trauma.
Brett.
But yeah, I don't remember what it was.
Okay.
Oh no! It said I said we'd have to have a camera in here recording it all time if we wanted a blooper reel, but we can't do a blooper reel because then we'd have to have a camera recording it all time.
I'm gonna crack open my liquid death.
Go for it. How's that going? Somebody said they have plastic lining in the cans. I don't know if that's actually true.
It says death to plastic, so I hope that that's not true.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time a corporation lied. That is for sure. So we got a bunch of stuff to talk about today, ladies and gentlemen. The bad people in Hollywood are once again trying to reassert control, as always. Kevin Spacey has threatened us with a comeback in Hollywood if he is acquitted of the charges he is currently facing in the UK. We are going to discuss that. We are going to discuss the fact that Bill Cosby is now being sued by 9 women after the statute of limitations requirement in the state of Nevada has been overturned. So some women are saying like, look, a long time ago, you did some very, very bad stuff to us. The burden of proof is lower on civil suits. So they're going to try him in court for that. So we're going to talk about that. That kind of all goes together, along with the fact that Amber Heard has a new role coming up. And there's some stuff going on about the fact that Mel Gibson was hired for the Continental. It just seems like casting these days is a very, very dicey business in an industry full of people that everyone seems to have a problem with.
Sex perverts.
Well, like that's it, but even Mel Gibson
predators.
is controversial to hire because of things he said, but somehow Kevin Spacey is just kind of controversial to hire even though he's just a bad person.
Literal murderers, abusers, predators, and perverts.
Wow, we
in
have
this industry.
Ooh, that went on for a long time there.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the fact that Miranda Sings, who I had never heard of before Mary told me about her, is accused of grooming underage fans in a very, very creepy parasocial relationship. So we are going to discuss that. We're also going to talk about the fact that Andrew Tate has had the charges adjusted in his human trafficking case. He did a very large live stream, 430,000+ concurrent stream viewers yesterday over on Rumble. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a little bit about the changes in the case against him. Also, Jeffree Star was swatted in the funniest possible way.
Yeah, even he found it funny.
Yes, it was amusing. And like he seemed to not be taking it seriously. Like when we've been swatted here, you take it very seriously because you could DIE if something bad.
I mean, anyone could. Maybe he doesn't realize that.
He might not understand. But before we get into all of that, guys, could you hit the like button on this video, subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already. And remember, all Super Chats, $20 and over, we will stop the discussion right then and there. We will read your questions or air your concerns right then and there, and then we will get back on discussion as quickly as possible. If you want to say, if you want to tell Mary that you're glad she's back from vacation and you didn't get a chance to do it yesterday, you could do that right now.
Or tell me that you're not glad that I'm back.
Or if you want, if you
Speak
really
your mind.
We support any and all views here, so we're going to get into all that. If you are ready, Mary, we'll get right into it. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do this. All right, first things first, I have a weird announcement that I was excited about and was surprised at the traction it got on Twitter. So they are making a sequel to The Bone Collector, which was a movie from 2000 that I love. It's a Philip Noyce movie. It's a book series starring Denzel Washington and Angelina Jolie. It's from the long forgotten era of the 90s and early 2000s thriller films. It was one of the first movies I saw that really incorporated forensics into its story, and apparently there's a ton of books in this series that go for The Bone Collector. It was also made into a television show in 2020 called The Bone Collector, starring Russell Hornsby from Grimm. I didn't watch the TV show, I have to admit. I'm very partial to the movie starring Angelina Jolie and Denzel Washington, but that was all the way back in 2000. Now they're talking about making another one over 20 years later. That's crazy. Like,
It's just they're running out of ideas,
No,
Brett.
but what's-
This is not a good thing.
no, like I said,
If you're returning to a certain IP 20 years later, it's because you're running out of ideas.
And there was
you're
an
scraping
interesting
the bottom of the barrel.
There was an interesting response that somebody gave me as why they think they're going to end up making this. This is from Ultra Nuclear Black Pilled on Twitter.
But you don't trust the trusted and proven sources?
Yeah, so it says The Bone Collector is the first of a series of novels, so they have plenty of other stories. And Denzel did a good job in that movie. Yes, he did. He did it. He's a paraplegic in the movie, so he can't.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Is that like not PC anymore?
I don't know. That's a very good question. He's grandfathered in because he did it in an earlier movie, and I can bet why they want to bring it back is apparently the ultimate enemy in nearly all of the books is white supremacy. So he says, I didn't get that idea from the movie. I didn't read the books. So if that is true, maybe that's why they want to make it into more movies. Maybe they want to fight white supremacy with Denzel and Angelina Jolie. It's also got Queen Latifah in one of my favorite Queen Latifah roles. She plays his caregiver in that movie.
I wonder only about the him playing a quadriplegic person because like Leonardo DiCaprio has gotten shade for What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous, obviously, because I mean,
it was so long
the idea
ago.
of casting a disabled person to play a disabled character, it wouldn't always work.
But I was surprised by how much support, like the tweet that I posted got a lot of people who seemed to be interested in it. So,
I haven't seen it. Should I watch the original?
I really do. I think you should.
Or should I watch Tomb Raider? It's either or.
Oh, watch both.
I know you're gonna say watch both, but if I had to choose,
that's an Angelina Jolie, like, make it an Angelina Jolie night and watch both of them.
Yeah,
That's
she
what
just maybe she doesn't have it anymore.
She does have it. She's still got it. I like. She was the only good part of the Eternals. So and another reason why this could happen is if they bring back the same director. The same director has worked with her multiple times. He worked with her on that. He worked with her on Salt in 2010. So there's a history there. I would enjoy seeing this.
Good thing about Salt.
I like Salt. Leif Schreiber's in that one. That's a good movie. That's one of those ones though where when I think about it, if they'd waited a couple of years for it to come out, maybe like it would have been way worse. So they probably got it out right at the right time. A lot of those Angelina Jolie action movies that came out post that era ended up not being that good, or not just Angelina Jolie ones, but those types of female-led action movies. Like when maybe in the chat they remember what was the one with Scarlett Johansson where she's with Morgan Freeman. And it's about we only use 10% of our brain. And then they're like, what if you could use 100% of your brain? It's really
That's
stupid.
another one of those old wives' tales that spread and is not actually true.
That movie was not good. That movie was not good.
I don't remember this.
But in the chat, Kidamano says, you guys watched The Eternals? Yeah, I mean, it was a long time ago.
I didn't watch The
You were not
Eternals.
here at that time. But yeah, I watched The Eternals.
I'm glad I didn't.
It was extremely boring. They're like, it's the first Marvel sex scene. And I was like, why do I want a sex scene in a Marvel movie?
Was it graphic?
No, it was not at all. It was.
What's the point?
It was
is it for kids or not?
It was a PG-13 movie. It was Lucy is the movie that I was thinking of. Thank you. But yes, also they do address that in Limitless. And if you haven't seen Limitless, go watch Limitless, and then when you're done,
Limitless
go
is
watch
good.
the highly underrated Limitless TV show, which only has 4 episodes with Bradley
try
Cooper,
that.
but it's very, very good. It was only got 1 season. It's got Jennifer Carpenter from Dexter in it. Everyone should watch that. All right, so now we're gonna have some fun. Let's show them what celebrities look like at regular jobs.
Yeah.
We were very excited about this.
AI, Midjourney just keeps on giving. It's the gift that keeps on giving.
So I'm going to tell you right now, like not every one of these celebrities, guys, looks exactly like their counterpart. Tom Cruise looks damn close.
Yeah.
But not all of them look exactly like them. But somehow they all look perfect for the job they get put in.
No, I think Tom Cruise looks like depressed. Like this is debasing for him.
He looks like he just got divorced. And he had to get a second job to pay the alimony.
Yeah. Also, I love the like very carefully arranged apples or whatever those are in the background.
I think they're pears.
I'm looking at the background of all of these, and none of them make sense.
And then there's some peppers down there, right there.
Scroll to the next.
Okay, so here we go, guys.
Leo is not looking so hot.
Leo does not like.
He's grabbing fries from people's meals on the job.
This is not a guy that can afford a super yacht.
He hasn't kept a job for more than 2 months.
This is not a guy who can afford a super yacht and bang hot models on there, and that's why he looks so sad. He wouldn't look so sad if he could bang hot models.
I do believe if Leonardo DiCaprio had never gotten famous or rich, he still would have pulled in his younger years. But now, no, I don't think so.
He's too husky.
Maybe it's the injections. Maybe it's that.
Yeah, so maybe he would look more normal if he hadn't.
Juvederm, it would be fine. The next one does not look like Megan Fox at all.
Okay, here we go.
This just looks like a random Instagram model.
It looks like Rachel Bilson if Rachel Bilson got the buccal fat removal.
Oh, maybe.
Yep, it does. And I don't know.
She works at Fode.
What is it says I can't even see what the top part
Her
says.
apron covers nothing.
It says the first words aren't even visible, but the one word you can read is Fode.
People who are listening right now have no idea what we're talking about.
Yes, we're showing celebrities if they worked regular
tune
jobs.
In for this one.
Yes. All right, here we go.
Robert Pattinson looks a little different.
No, where did it go? Hold on. There we go. No, I opened it twice. That's why. There we go. Okay, here we go. Robert Pattinson. He was recently voted like the most attractive face in the world according to science. Just like Anthony Fauci says, the science,
like a golden ratio.
Yeah, like he's got the perfect face. They said.
Interesting.
So and they got the hollow cheeks in there, but I think you're right.
He looks a little different.
I think you're right though that the hot women, all got huge foreheads for some reason.
Yeah, AI does this when AI makes sexy women, for some reason always gives them gigantic foreheads.
Look at Julia Roberts' forehead there.
Maybe there was an era in history where big foreheads were considered very appealing on women and like a sign of fertility or something. Maybe we're going back to that era.
Maybe AI is going to push it back to that era. So,
but it doesn't look like Julia Roberts, at least not what she looks like today.
Yep.
Joaquin Phoenix looks like he can really expertly sling a cleaver.
Oh yeah. We got a $20 super chat from Shane H. Wilder. It says, "Hey Brett, I just wanted to throw y'all some extra bread for retweeting the link to my Padre Pio article or Padre Pio review. Thank you, my brother. Mary, if you want some preparation before seeing the film, I tagged you. Peace be with you all."
Yeah, I saw some bad reviews for Padre Pio from Catholics. They didn't like it.
Yep. So
they said if you're thinking of watching the Padre Pio film, don't.
That's a strong, like normally you'd think they would at least want to encourage you to watch it because some of the message might be on par for what they want you to learn. So to say don't watch it at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think saying you shouldn't watch this doesn't mean there aren't good elements to it, but that the bad elements outweigh it. I mean, one thing they mentioned was that Padre Pio is depicted cursing at people using foul language, which isn't substantiated in any way.
Okay.
But that was in the trailer. I already knew that was going to be in it, and it seemed a little outlandish to me.
All right, let's move on. Let's look at
Margot Robbie.
It looks like she like
hairline is receding,
and they like did a Gaussian filter over her face. Like this is what she would look like if she was in a horror movie.
Her eyes are not slanted like that in real life, but she looks cute.
It's a very cute version of somebody who like is the town Margot Robbie.
And
she is the you know, like in a small town, this is some small town's Margot Robbie who works at the local convenience store.
I think this next one is Will Smith if he were on the Geek Squad. He's looking very stressed out.
You know what it is? His like Jada literally just called and was like, "Bring home some bread, motherfucker!" And he's like, I don't have time. I get off work. The store's closed when I get off work. Jada, stop stressing me. I have enough stress at my job.
I wanted to see one of these where they work at the Apple store.
I should have done that. And then Ryan Gosling, I guess
he doesn't look like Ryan Gosling.
It does a little bit.
I mean, it's a resemblance.
The eyes are the right shape.
Not quite.
The eyes are the right shape, and the hair is in the hair.
It's a cool jacket, though.
But it's like I guess he's pumping gas for a living. Maybe he lives in one of those places. Oh, do they do this on this side of the do they have the thing out here where they pump gas for you?
Absolutely not.
And you're not supposed to get out of the car.
No,
that shit's crazy.
Isn't that just in like Indiana? Or
I thought
something?
it was like North Carolina or something like that.
Not North Carolina for sure.
So Indiana or something like that.
It was some random state. I've never been to a place like that in my life.
That's like I hear those stories.
Are you supposed to tip them?
I have no idea. I've never been to one.
The gas better be cheaper then.
Yeah, you'd think. But in the chat, Dustin's right. He doesn't look very helpful. He doesn't look like a guy who's gonna like wash your windows.
You better not ask him any questions.
Yeah, he doesn't want to help.
Angelina Jolie looks once again big forehead, but this is giving like Thai lady boy to me.
Yeah, I'm not. It doesn't really look like Angelina Jolie to like a very young Angelina Jolie. People are saying New Jersey. They do it in New Jersey. The gas.
Oh, New Jersey. Okay.
Yep.
Weird.
All right. We got a couple more here.
Chadwick Boseman had his hairline filled in.
I don't even know if this is is this an ethical problem that they're doing this with an actor who's since passed.
Also, why are all of the employees in the background also black?
And well, no.
Why does he work at a KFC?
Why is this guy like giving him the side eye?
Yeah, well, he's looking in two different directions.
Okay. Let's see. And
Viola Davis looks
She looks
aggressive.
like you just tried to pay with 3 separate debit cards and she is pissed.
Is this at a Waffle House?
It doesn't say. It's kind of racist, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Jennifer Lawrence looks cute. Big forehead, though.
Yeah, look at she's like, she knows how to articulate her hair to hide the forehead.
This is a yassified version of Jennifer Lawrence.
She's looking good. I'm liking the tie.
Nice tie.
I'm liking the tie.
Shia LaBeouf looks like he just got thawed out from an iceberg.
No, to me, this looks like a guy who gets really mad when he bowls a bad game. Like when he
is this a bowling alley?
It looks like an arcade, but like those look like bowling alleys behind.
Why did the men look so sad?
Yep. The men do all look very sad. And
Emma Watson looks like a nice person for once.
She doesn't look like somebody who's self-partnered. Like she goes home to a boyfriend she looks like she goes home to a boyfriend who loves her.
This is the best one so far. Yeah.
Spot on. I'm sorry. Spot on.
Brad Pitt looks too sissy to be a construction
weathered
worker.
Skin, working outside. I'm here for it. I think it's spot on. The glasses probably add to it too.
He needs more time in the sun.
And then that does. I'm going to go ahead and call cap on Denzel. It doesn't look right to me. The cheeks are too wide. It doesn't look like Denzel to me. Sorry. The hair looks good, but the rest of it only somewhat resembles Denzel.
I like Natalie Portman.
Again, though, forehead. A little
bit.
Like
a bakery or something.
Yeah, or an ice cream shop. I think it's an ice cream shop.
But it doesn't look much like her.
Yeah. And that does look nothing like Seth Rogen.
Seth Rogen is trying to sell you like some CBD oil.
Quinoa. Quinoa. I think he's selling you quinoa.
You said he looks like he's on a watch list?
Oh, yeah. He's creepy looking. Actually, you know what it is? He looks like a guy who poses with the Nintendo Switch and makes the soy boy face.
I mean, he already looks like that.
With the wide face.
That's
and then Tom Hanks looks like somebody who hasn't been to Epstein's Island, which is a miracle.
He looks very wholesome.
Yes.
In this one.
He's like, actually, never mind. No, he uses those donuts to lure the kids in. That's how he does it. That's what he does. All right.
Was he on the flight log?
I believe so, yeah.
Oh.
I believe so. So, Chet, we're going to need you to... You know what it is? He looks like you know what this is? This looks like a guy who raised Colin Hanks, not a guy who raised Chet Hanks. That's what it looks like to me. All right. Did you know that Daredevil, Born Again, and The Penguin have both been paused until after the writer's strike?
It wasn't Daredevil Born Again already
I thought it was done.
Delayed multiple times.
Yeah, but I thought the filming was done, but I guess not. So, yeah, it says it's been filming in and around New York. It's 3 months into an 8-month shoot. on an 18-episode series, so they're going to be paused for a long time, depending on how long all that holds off. So we got a $20 super chat from Patrick McNeely. Says, the state of New Jersey is currently the only state in the union that doesn't allow drivers to blow themselves up when filling the tank. Also, the attendants can't take tips. If they got you to tip them, then you got scammed.
I've never been to New Jersey, period. So
there you go.
I wouldn't know.
Yep.
But what do you mean blow themselves up? Does that actually happen?
I mean, like I used to like manage.
I keep my car running when I
you're not supposed to do that.
I'm kidding.
And you're also not supposed to.
I'm kidding. I don't do.
There was also say like you're not.
And I smoke a bunch of cigarettes as well.
Not supposed to. Definitely not supposed to do that. It also used to be said that you weren't supposed to be on the phone. Well,
what?
Yep, they used to say that. I don't know what the logic behind that was.
I'm never going to. Listen to
and
that.
you're definitely not supposed to have the door open. Like, and you're not supposed to get back in the car while the gas was pumping. That was what they used to say, and that was a big thing when you're from Minnesota because it's cold as hell out. In the
listen
winter.
to that?
No. But a lot of people did. So Born Again and The Penguin are both going to be put on hold while we wait for the writers to get over their prima donna phase and just accept the fact that they're not good at their job anymore.
To heal from their childhood trauma.
Yes, because ChatGPT doesn't have childhood trauma, says annoying Hollywood writer. All right, guys, we got a couple more things. I want to give an update on ISOM number 2, which is currently sitting at $1,270,365. You love to see it. They broke 1 million very fast. There are still 70 plus days on this campaign. It's just awesome. It's awesome to see that much success. Another thing about it is this is spread out over 10,000 people have paid for this comic and paid for the bundles. That's amazing.
How much did it cost?
I mean, the package I was going to get that I have not gotten around to rebuying because the website conked out when I tried to do it before was $60, but that was because I wanted another copy of ISOM number 1.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's good. Like, I'm really, really glad to see it. Also, some of the people that work for him got in touch with me on Twitter today about possibly getting him out here. Like, I mean, I haven't talked to them in privately yet, but I don't know if they think that this is like a call-in show. Because it wouldn't be a call-in show. He'd have to fly out here.
We could try to do a call-in show one day.
I'd rather have him in person. So assuming that he can make the time to come out here for a Friday episode, I would love to have him out here and get his takes on everything because he is a lot funnier than I. And he is a great, he's great when he's roasting people.
Another one from Last of My Kind. He said, there's a funny vid where an animator shows that every time he and his wife argue, photoshops all her pictures in the house. But wait, what?
All his pictures in the house, what?
Whenever he and his wife argue, he photoshops all her pictures in the house by ever so slightly making her forehead bigger every time.
What? That's amazing.
NJ watched
New Jersey.
Zoolander and passed laws.
Well, what is the world coming to when two male models can't have a harmless gasoline fight?
Really, though, what is the world
Seriously, what is the world coming to? What is this, a school for ants? All right, and one more thing, guys. If you had questions about Lady Gaga, now you can ask further questions because apparently her fans are very mad at her because she did an ad for Pfizer for a migraine drug.
This is not real.
You don't think this is real?
She did an ad for Nurtec.
And they're saying she lost 300,000 followers since the ad.
I hear from a Nurtec user that this is the best migraine medication on the market today.
The best.
So Lady Gaga made a good choice, but she's lost 300,000 followers. People are calling her a sellout. I think that her fans are just kind of clowning on her.
The biggest cap here is that, like, I don't buy that people that love Lady Gaga have one bone to pick with Pfizer.
No, they're just making memes about it, but they're kind of mad that she's doing ads because she, already has enough money.
Well, these are the commies that believe there should be some cap on how much money you make.
They're like, if her net worth is 200 million, why does she need to sell things?
Well, maybe she just gets really bad migraines. Oh, I also don't buy for a second that she spends days in bed with debilitating migraines. I think she worked through the pain. I think she's a Chad.
She said in the ad, I know what it's like to work through the pain or whatever, to perform through the pain.
She's like, I had to make that horrible A Star Is Born movie with Bradley Cooper. Actually, everybody loves that movie. I just couldn't think of it. She's been in I had to be in that horrible American Horror Story season with, right? She was in American Horror Story. In the earlier seasons, right? So
they said the recession touches all.
So, like, you know,
is she doing this because the recession is taking a hit to her bank account?
That must be what it is, and I don't buy it.
I don't think her fans are mad. They're just making memes.
Like, it doesn't feel like I don't know.
She was going broke.
No, Lady Gaga's not going broke on anything. That's not a thing. No. It says Pfizer said in a statement that the collaboration with Gaga was to help raise awareness of this often silent disease and inspire those living with migraines to have conversations with their healthcare providers about the best way that they can buy our product. Okay, I made that last part up. They didn't actually say the last part.
We know what they mean.
We got a $20 chat from Crispy Leg Transport LLC, who I have not seen in a while. How you doing, buddy?
He said, I bought the 3-cover bundle, the Blood Rind, and extra copy of cover C. Do any of you guys cook Southern style collard greens?
I do not cook collard greens.
I haven't, no.
If you bought an extra copy of cover C, Crispy Leg, is that the Shane Davis cover? I believe cover C is the Shane Davis cover. Who is another great comic artist who I like following him on Twitter because he's got some hilarious.
Didn't we want to get him on the show?
Yes, at some point it would be good. We're gonna and again, I don't know, back to it, I don't want to know if this is an opiate, but
it's not.
It's not. I didn't think so. Like, most migraine specific drugs are not. But we got a $20 super chat there from Because Reasons.
I always thought that Britney Spears was the next Madonna, but I guess it's Gaga.
Yeah.
No, she looks good. Like, she's fine.
I think they just mean, like, in terms of being, like, kind of out there. Like, I don't know.
She's always been like that, though.
But also,
if anything, she's less unhinged than she was before.
She does seem kind of normal. Well, no, maybe it's like she's the same level of unhinged, but the world got more unhinged around her.
So she fits in.
Yeah, she, like literally picture her as the center of the Overton window as the world shifts. But like, she started out here, and the world just kept shifting, and she kept moving to the middle.
She's not the next Madonna. Britney Spears is definitely on that path.
Yeah, poor
Sadly.
Britney. Like, also, okay, here's another thing about Britney Spears. I saw a thing recently where they balked at the idea. They're like, she could not possibly be on drugs. I'm like, look, I'm not saying she is.
What?
Like,
how the hell would you know?
Her ex was saying, like, she's not on drugs.
That's such an absurdly confident statement.
I know, and I'm like,
for someone who's not in her life.
They said
anymore.
She's not on meth, and I'm like, she could absolutely be on meth. I'm not saying she is. I'm saying that her behavior.
Like, how would you know?
Her behavior is not outside the realms of that world, right? Like, you do absurd things when you do drugs, and she's doing absurd things. Now, how much of that is trauma and how much of that is just the drugs you're using to cope with the trauma? It's really hard to tell where one ends and one begins, right? Like, when you learn to deal more coherently and more safely with your demons, you're still traumatized. You're still suffering from the things that have happened to you, but you found healthy ways of dealing with it. Whereas before you learn to deal with it, and especially when you're using chemicals to deal with it, you act out in ways in which people can't really tell if it's the trauma that's causing it or if it's the things you're using to cope with it that are causing it. But for Britney Spears, who knows?
People just have a lot of opinions that are like educated guesses about Britney Spears.
Yeah.
And what she's doing in her private life.
Yep.
But you don't know anything for sure.
And I am absolutely saying don't do drugs, guys. It's a very, very horrible thing for everyone to do. Trust me, I am living proof that you do not want to. You don't want to do it. For
Madonna, though, I think Madonna still has some level of self-awareness.
Oh, well,
I can't say the same for Britney.
Oh, I don't think she's I think the opposite. I think she's just gone on being old and narcissistic. I don't think she's actually self-aware of just how annoying she is. I think
she doesn't evoke pity from
No, she's deluded herself.
Does.
She's deluded herself into acting the way she acts, and I hate it. But then again, okay, now think about this. Who would you rather, like, if you're a Pfizer customer, you're like, hi, I'm at the Pfizer store. I need my meds, aka the pharmacy. Like, who would you trust more to sell you a product, Madonna or Lady Gaga?
Lady Gaga.
There you go.
Right.
I'm
trusting. The correct answer.
I believe that's the correct answer. Like, I'm not trusting anything.
She has her wits about her.
She does. She comes off to me as somebody who's very, like, her brand of, like, wild and crazy always came off very business oriented to me. Like a packaged, not to say that it's not organic.
People were recently circulating a video of her when she was performing in a club before she was, like, well known. Oh no, the sound's not on. Thank you. We didn't get the acapella.
Still get it at the end there. Well, guys, guys don't know is that in the studio that is so loud that downstairs I can't just reset the clock every day during IRL because they would hear it. It like literally would shake the IRL studio. Actually, guys,
you should only grace them with the presence of
for
Ian
a certain amount of money. For a certain amount of money, I might be willing to like just play it during IRL and just to see if everybody like looks up and is like, what the hell?
You might not see any more of us, though.
Yeah, I might. They might let me go afterwards. But Gaga's stuff always felt very, not inauthentic, but expertly packaged.
I guess. But I think her come up was like more organic than people performing on TikTok. Like when I was saying like people were circulating this video of her performing in a club for like 20 people. One of her songs that ended up being a hit, and that's not like a thing that celebrities do anymore. Like there isn't any hustle. You just make TikToks and then you get picked up by a studio or record label.
Yeah, but back then it was like you had to just get lucky and get picked up by the studio. Like it was very much
not all luck though. Like she.
Where was she performing?
Is one of the people that genuinely deserved it.
Yeah. I mean, it still requires them to figure it out now. It's just they do it through TikTok, which means
it's less dignified.
But way more output, which means you have to put content out way more frequently because you can't just slow down. Like you don't get to just not be putting stuff out. Like that's the hard part of life on the internet, right? If you're an internet personality, if you're someone who gets your level of fame through social media, there aren't off days. Not really. You have to be putting stuff out every day.
Yeah, I guess
like the algorithm is not your friend. Like when I used to put out skating edits every single day, especially during 2020 and 2021 because of COVID, I was able to go out every day after work and be left pretty much alone because everybody else was scared to go outside. As soon as I got this job, my content stayed about every day for about the first 6 months. Then I started working on the show, less and less. Now the views on those videos way down because I'm not putting content out every day.
Doesn't prioritize you unless
it doesn't prioritize. Yeah, a lot of the people like who will come by will find one randomly. Would be like, look, I didn't even know you were still putting stuff out. I never see you in my timeline anymore. So I do think Lady Gaga, however, is in fact quite a bit more trustworthy than Madonna. Like I don't want any of those creepy Madonna pictures being used to sell me anything, with the blown out whites and like the creepy poses next to the bathtub and the Cheerios or whatever the hell it was.
Not the best aesthetic.
No. All right. Let's get started then. What do you want? You want to do cute or cringe?
Let's start with cute.
All right, we'll do cute of the day first. We got a couple here. Some people submitted some yesterday. First is from Bad Kitty Mama. I know she's in the chat. In fact, I see her right there. She's talking right now. This is Butters. We say Butters. That's what she says there. And he's sweet. He's as sweet as he is evil. I actually posted a bunch of pictures of Bocus last night, and it was just great because it's literally me smiling and him looking like I'm so sick of your shit. Like,
well, cats will be like completely loving 1 minute and then turn on you and try to scratch you the next.
In fact, I'm gonna see if I should have sent this earlier, but yeah, like Bocus. Well, last night it was because I was bothering him while he was like, because I was basically saying like you're kind
he needs his beauty sleep.
I was like, you're kind of a freeloader. Like you get to just like all day I watch you just move from various surfaces.
The rent that Bocus pays here is in cat pictures.
Yeah. Like I was like, I literally watch you move all day from surface to surface, finding
from box to box,
finding various things to nap on.
Earlier.
And so when he went to his bed, I'm like, oh, now you want to go to bed and be left alone, huh? Like I see how it is. So I decided to take this photo, and frankly, I find he looks so pissed. He does not look happy right there, and that's what I like about it. He's like, leave me alone, I'm trying to nap, and I'm like, well, too bad, buddy.
He's been kind of sleepy lately.
Yes, well,
he hasn't been running around as much. He used to go crazy.
So now we have this is from Celine on Twitter. Says my cat's name could probably double as a cringe of the day, but anyways, meet Kyla Ren.
Oh no.
Hashtag PCC pets. And I do see me in the background there, which is good.
Nice.
So that's adorable.
I love a tuxedo.
I do. It's very cute. I do as well. And then we got this one right next to Aiden there with Kanye wearing his weird spandex pants in the background.
I didn't notice that one.
Yep. So that is very, very cute. What else do we got here? We got one more. So this is from Learnt Waspel on Twitter. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but I'm horrible at this stuff. Dustin's doggos, Iris the Blue Healer, and Lily the Belgian Malinois. Oh my gosh, that's adorable.
Oh, the tiny one. I didn't even notice at first.
Yep.
Cute.
Adorable. Adorable. That's a good boy. All right. Are you ready for Cringe?
Yeah, I'm
Let's
ready.
do Cringe. You found this one.
I don't know if you're ready.
No, I'm not. I started watching this one, and I immediately stopped because it gave me nightmares. Here we go. Oh, gosh. Oh, God.
The video coming out on Saturday this week is going to be a follow-up on Ezra Miller dealing with new allegations. Now, I'll get into all of this on Saturday, but one thing I will not be doing in that video is misgendering them.
Well, you wouldn't want to misgender the grooming possible child predator.
Yeah, of course.
That would be
And
horrible.
this person's about to explain why.
Sometimes out of ignorance, but I have seen a disturbing number of people, even from within the LGBTQIA plus community, making a decision to misgender them and arguing that it's something we should do. And look, I get wanting to put as much distance as possible between us and them, especially if these allegations turn out to be true. But opening the door and saying that there are certain circumstances under which it is acceptable to disregard someone's identity that, by all evidence, they hold sincerely. The instant we
By
do
what
that
evidence?
to them, that says it's okay.
Sorry, hold on.
For other
By what
people to deny
evidence
it.
does Ezra Miller hold this identity sincerely?
There was the article from the
What
woman.
evidence?
There was the article from the woman in Belgium or whatever who said that he doesn't care as much if in private. He only cares in public.
Exactly. And uses it during his arrest videos
This is
to resist cops.
Our identities and pronouns for their own reasons, and I will not take part of that. I will deal with the actual accusations, but I will not be.
Think of all the women he's besmirching who make that shirt, who actually wear that shirt.
Misgendering them. Please don't do it either. The video coming out on
I'm going to continue misgendering Ezra Miller. Sorry, but not sorry.
I need a moment.
Like you've said yourself, when you're being a nuisance and a danger to society and you don't show other people basic respect, on that level alone, you forfeit the right to demand respect from other people.
Yes.
That's like your beliefs about people's gender identities aside.
Yes. I mean, I'm really just more, it's the guy. I can't right now. Can we move on? Can we get rid of this guy? I don't want him on screen anymore. Okay. Oh boy. All right. So what do we got here? Jamie Lee Curtis?
Yeah. Jamie Lee Curtis posted this picture on Instagram saying, protect trans rights, protect trans kids or whatever, because she herself has a trans kid who is now an adult. And, do you have the post from this person pulled up?
I do.
It's, telling.
This is,
I don't know if I should even say this out loud.
I'm just going to leave it on screen there. If you're listening, that's fine.
This is how this delusional person perceives themselves when they look in a mirror.
Make it stop.
Can't even begin to comprehend that level of delusion.
Hey.
That's Jamie Lee Curtis's child.
Okay. All right.
But protect trans kids, right?
I just protect my eyes. I need to go. We need to
protect
move on.
my eyes with bleach, please.
I need to move on. I can't with this right now. All right, let's move on because I'm gonna. We just have to. I'm done.
That was a really bad cringe.
Yes, it was, guys. I like when Mary was gone. Like we limited the cringe. Like we did cringe, but it was more tolerable. Mary is the connoisseur of cringe, which means as soon as she comes back, it gets way worse.
I find the worst of the worst.
Yes, she does. So actually, I found a really good one for tomorrow, but we'll wait till then to talk about that one, guys. If you're ready now, we will get right into it. Are you ready, Mary?
I'm ready.
Let's do this. Okay, so we got a lot to unpack, as the kids used to say in this first topic, but it says Kevin Spacey claims he will make a Hollywood comeback after he's exonerated at his assault trial, his SA trial.
Was he doing this with like a German interviewer?
Yeah, I'd never heard of the publication. So it says
no one else will take him.
Yeah, it's called Zeit magazine.
I know that there are people right now who are ready to hire me at the moment I'm cleared of these charges in London. The second that happens, they're ready to move forward. Great.
Yeah, well, I mean,
It's all about the people you know and not about
it says a lot about the people in the industry, right? They are the ultimate, they are in many ways the ultimate capitalists, right? They don't care what damage you, and I'd be fine with that as long as you admit that that's what you are. Don't fill yourself, don't throw this label of virtue around on yourself and pretend like you're the good guys if you're not the good guys. Be who you are. Just don't lie about it.
I voted Kevin Spacey in our poll today as who I trust the least, simply because people keep mysteriously dying surrounding all of these allegations. I'm not going to say out loud what I'm thinking is happening.
Yep.
But it's definitely something to raise an eyebrow at.
I did put a poll up, ladies and gentlemen. I said, who would you trust the least? Kevin Spacey, Bill Cosby, Miranda Sings, or Ezra Miller? So far, Ezra Miller is winning handily.
I think I would trust Ezra Miller as a friend because he would be constantly wanting to like beat anyone up who crosses.
He's like, are there any women that have pissed you off lately, dude? Because I will go off.
I will assault them. Yeah.
He's like, I haven't choked slammed anyone in months, and I haven't thrown a chair since last week. Let me know. Just let me know who's been pissing you off, dude. I got you. But yeah, so I says I have a lot of this is his statement now. I'm going to read this. It says bold words from a guy who's facing 12 counts of SA by 4 men and a criminal trial set to begin in London later this month. Spacey was charged with offenses that allegedly occurred between 2001 and 2013, but he has denied any wrongdoing. This was his statement. He says, I have a lot of respect for and an admiration for Anthony Rapp as an actor. If you remember, Anthony Rapp is the one who filed the $40 million civil suit that got...
Who alleged that Kevin Spacey basically
R-worded him.
Didn't R-word him, but attempted to in his apartment when Anthony Rapp was 14 years old.
At a party, at a party. So he says, I have a tremendous amount of respect and admiration for Anthony Rapp as an actor, but I'm beyond horrified to hear this story. Remember, this is from 2017. I honestly do not remember the encounter. It would have been over 30 years ago, but if I did behave then as he describes, I owe him the sincerest apology for what would have been deeply inappropriate drunken behavior, and I am sorry for the feelings he describes having carried with him all these years.
Reiterate, you cannot use drunkenness as an excuse for pedophilia.
Shocking, right?
Look,
shocking.
I don't care how drunk you are. Things that you do while you're drunk are not things you would never even conceive of doing while sober. Yep. It just means your inhibitions are lowered, and that's something that you would have entertained doing while sober.
Yep. And Anthony Rapp lost his civil suit because it's been 30 years. There's no way to prove any of this. How do you do that, right?
I'm sure, and I hope that 99.999% of people out there would not dream of propositioning a child during when they're sober or drunk.
Yep.
But to excuse it with drunkenness is just so disingenuous. And it's such a subtle, but evil equivocation.
It wasn't long till after this when he came out and said, "It's not my fault. It's because I'm gay." He came out and said, which is insane.
Which also,
has
once
nothing
again,
to do with it.
kind of implicates all gay people in something that you did as an individual.
Unbelievable, dude. And it's not just Kevin Spacey. It's also Bill Cosby, who is now being sued by 9 women. It says we got a $20 super chat hit there from Because Reasons.
He said, how can you trust Spacey after House of Cards? Seriously.
Not just that, but the videos he released on YouTube not playing his character from House of Cards.
Maybe he wasn't acting.
Yeah, well, that's what a lot of people say, right? Like the reason he was able to play Frank so well was because he wasn't acting. He was being...
Even just genuine. As a PR move, that was a weird decision.
Yep. So the lawsuit, we're getting back on Cosby now, because remember, Hollywood and the media are full of bad people. The lawsuit filed in the District Court of Nevada accuses Cosby of using his enormous power, fame, and prestige to isolate and SA each of the 9 women named in the lawsuit. And again, this is because they have eliminated the statute of limitations for these types of cases in civil suits.
For all civil cases?
Yeah, for SA civil cases. So
I wonder where else that would apply in the country.
Well, yeah, I don't know. So it says NBC Daily News anchor Kate Snow will have an exclusive interview with some of the women, which will air on Thursday.
I almost thought I was going to say Bill Cosby.
Yeah, Cosby has been publicly accused of sexual abuses from groping to R-word by more than 60 women, many of whom have allegations that are decades old, but are being revived as states change statutes defining how courts handle misconduct cases.
I know we say innocent until proven guilty, and that's the way that our judicial system is supposed to work. But don't you think, Brett, that after a certain number, there's just like a critical mass that you reach of allegations where it's like,
I mean, I still don't know if I don't think that that's reason
on.
to break the system.
No, it's not a reason to convict someone, but it's a reason to probably safely assume that
it's a reason
guilty.
to be like, at least ask questions.
In your personal
right?
opinion of the guy. I mean, nobody thinks he's innocent.
Well, yeah, like I don't know what people's opinions are of him, and look, I don't know if these women are being truthful. I have no idea, but I do know that I wouldn't, if I was a woman, I wouldn't leave my drink unattended around Bill Cosby just to be safe.
No,
just to be safe. That's
no,
all
they
I'm
did
saying.
they did a social experiment in some like what would you do type video.
Yeah,
where a woman like leaves her drink out and you can visibly see a guy, like an actor, put something in it. And they they tested out like how many guys would intervene, how many guys would like take the drink away or like apprehend the guy.
Did they actually show him giving the drink
Most
to the girl?
of the time, well, they showed that it was the girl's drink.
Oh, so he knows that it's not the guy's drink.
Yeah,
Okay.
they know.
Okay.
And most of the time, the guys around the situation didn't do anything. Isn't that just kind of disheartening?
We live in a culture.
What would you do? I mean, you can think all you want that you would respond a certain way, but how do you know?
Yeah, like I don't know. Like
probably the best case is just like pretend that you accidentally knocked it over.
Yeah, like maybe the best
that nobody assumes
the best
you were
idea
trying to
would
get
be to just
involved.
like bump into him and knock the glass over
Whoops.
because like who know, like we do live in a world now where like we've seen all those studies, right, that talk about like people beat up, like guys have been beating up women on trains and people don't do anything because we live in a litigious society and nobody wants to get involved in stuff that's not their business. But
it's also just sad.
It's also part of society which has emasculated men and created a generation of men who aren't willing to step in and do something about it.
I'm not even saying you need to start a fight over it and like try to apprehend the guy, but just telling the person that they're about to get poisoned. I thought that would be like the bare minimum, but most of the time no one steps into these situations.
Another thing to ask would be like, would they have done something differently if this happened in a setting outside of a nightclub?
Oh, they also tested it out with how the woman was dressed. So if she were dressed in a more revealing way, they were way less likely to do anything. If she were dressed modestly, they were more likely to step in.
Like, what's is the logic? Like, I'm trying to follow their logic. Is their logic like she wanted this to happen, so it was planned? That's insane.
No, there's no logic to it. It's just the assumptions that we make about people.
Like so they're saying she deserves it because she's dress revealing?
Subconsciously at the very least, yes.
Oh, man.
Which is sad, but that's how the world is.
Oh, so Cosby has consistently denied all of the allegations, of course, and as we know, he got out of jail. Like,
and he's about to go back on tour.
He's going to go back on tour.
In the middle of this civil case?
He's got to make money to pay it if he gets found guilty. It's very disturbing. But it lends credence to the idea that Hollywood will do business with anyone as long as they can make them money. It's kind of a funny. I saw somebody Hypothesis left a couple of super chats involving wrestling. Look, Vince McMahon, he's one of those people. He'll do business with anyone. You could talk the most crap about Vince McMahon ever, but if you can make him money, he'll work with you. Hollywood's like, look, you can do all the bad things in the world, but as long as you're going to pull in a profit for us.
As long as it's hidden from public view. But even then, sometimes they disregard that.
And
so they're talking about Mel Gibson.
Yeah, like in Mel Gibson, who didn't do anything that was actually a crime or bad. He just said some stuff.
He said slurs.
He said some awful things. And now the people who are making The Continental, which he's in, he's a character named Cormac in the Continental, they're having to answer for these claims about stuff that he said a decade ago.
Which is ridiculous.
A decade ago. So this is what the producer said. He says, they were asking him about his controversial casting in this role and will it be a problem. He says, no, I think he fit the role. He fit what we needed based on his film past, and I'll leave others to debate the other stuff because it's not a black and white issue, and I don't want to be soundbited and clickbait. That's a tricky game to get into. I have my own personal beliefs in life and whatnot. After everything, I'm here to entertain.
I think
But I'm here
good
to
on
entertain.
this guy for standing up for himself.
Well, yeah, and like Gibson is one of those people that he's such a staple in Hollywood. He's invested so much money in the industry. He's developed so many relationships over his 30, 40-year career that he's kind of like grandfathered in. Like
But
he was able to
it's
shield
about having
himself.
the right friends, and it's not actually about the truth of the matter or what you did or didn't do.
Yep. And the thing is, he apologized for this stuff over and over again. But as we know, there's no point in apologizing because they don't want your apology. They want to subjugate you and they want to make you their bitch, basically. They want you to be groveling at their feet anytime they see a problem with anything that you do.
Amber Heard is also making a comeback soon.
I love it.
She's going to be starring in a new film called In the Fire, which is about a therapist, I guess, an American psychiatrist in the 19th century, before psychiatry was considered a trusted field in science. And she comes to treat and psychoanalyze a child who is acting erratically.
It's just really funny here that out of all the people, I feel like the backlash has been longest against Mel Gibson. He's the only one here who's not accused of actual physical violence against another person.
Why him? It doesn't seem fair.
Amber Heard, physical violence against another person. Oh, boo-hoo, you almost lost a finger. Oh, boo-hoo, I'm hitting you. I'm not punching you. That's physical violence.
However, in regards to like Mark Wahlberg, for instance, like he committed violence in the past
when he was a minor.
Yes, should have known better.
Definitely.
Absolutely. But again, I just don't care who these people are in their personal lives.
Because you shouldn't
commit crimes, you should be held accountable for that. But if you said some bad things or you just happen to be a jerk, I really don't care. I don't watch movies based on like my respect for or admiration for the people in them playing characters.
And most of the people do understand that for Mel Gibson, a lot of it is related to his religious beliefs.
Like we're watching The Flash tonight.
Yeah, we're good. And I watched a couple of reviews with people who were like, look, Ezra Miller's good in the film. I don't like Ezra Miller, but he's good in the film. So
exactly.
So, you know.
And what else can you really say?
And I do believe with Mel Gibson, it's more related to his conservatism and the fact that he's religious.
Yes. And Mark Wahlberg too.
Yes. They are both openly religious. And maybe the thing is like, look, for somebody who's religious, a big part, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, a big thing that religion offers is redemption. And these people don't believe, the people that hate these people don't believe in redemption. The people that hate Mel Gibson, the people that hate Mark Wahlberg are the people that don't believe in redemption. They believe in making you apologize forever and forever.
Now, there are some people in society for whom redemption, or at least redemption in the court of public opinion, should not be possible. And that's someone like Bill Cosby.
Or Kevin Spacey.
Because that's when you need to be, you're someone that society should be protected from, meaning you should be in jail. But if it's a situation like Mel Gibson's, I just don't understand where the ire comes from.
I have no idea.
I don't care what kind of person Mel Gibson is behind closed doors.
Yep.
It affects me 0%.
Yep.
When I'm watching a movie that he's in.
I just and Amber Heard, Amber Heard's kind of an interesting one because she's like left America and she's now living in Spain.
Yeah, I thought that the news was that she's like retreating from acting, but now it says she's like prioritizing being in films again.
Yeah. Well, you know, like for her, she's young. I'm guessing that, like, given that she probably lives a fairly lavish lifestyle, right? She's made her money, but she still needs to make money to keep that lifestyle. Mel Gibson doesn't have to work again.
Sure.
Kevin Spacey doesn't have to work again.
What was her net worth? Like $10 million?
It was not a lot if you're living in a villa that costs several $100,000 a month to rent, right? Like, so. She's not somebody that can just stop working. If she would, like, she
I
could
guess the
stop,
child support from Elon Musk isn't hitting like it used to.
She could stop working if she like adjusted her lifestyle maybe and lived a very modest life. But if she wants to keep
not
living,
even very modest, I think anyone with a net worth of 10 million can live like pretty well.
Yeah.
But
she's not
again,
going to
if
do
you
that.
want to live a Hollywood lifestyle, you have to.
Wait, who was it?
remain
Was
in
it Sydney
Hollywood.
Sweeney that was saying like, I only made $3 million. How am I supposed to live on this?
Sydney Sweeney, yeah. Like the idea that being like underpaid is that you have to continue working in your 20s when you're 25 years old. Nobody expected that being on Euphoria would have you set for life.
But she's capitalizing.
She's also bought a house.
Yeah, she's capitalizing.
Any other 25-year-old in America, can they really say that they're in the position to buy a house in Calabasas?
I saw a great thing the other day where it's like a 22-year-old girl and her her husband or fiance or something. She's like, we graduated college, bought our first house, and they're posing outside of the house. And somebody's like, I looked up the house just to prove you wrong. Yes, your dad. Like you and your dad bought the house.
Yeah, I don't like when people lie about that stuff.
Yeah, like it sets an unreal.
Because it's like setting this aspirational, like upward mobility dream that kind of doesn't exist anymore.
Your dad had to kindly crack the glass ceiling for you.
Yeah, which I respect if that's what you do, but don't lie about it.
Also, like, what about the dad? Dad's like, what am I, chopped liver?
Yeah.
I didn't do anything to help you out here.
Give
Are
him
you
some
kidding
credit.
me? Come on. It's like the same thing, I guess, when people say like, oh, I made it through, I paid my way through college, but dad's like, they paid for their rent, but their parents paid for the college.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not good. But yeah, Mel Gibson, look, he said it himself. He said when he called Jim Caviezel to make Passion of the Christ, he goes, hey, you want to ruin your career with me? And Jim's like, hell yeah, let's
I guess it kind of did in Jim Caviezel, but not Mel Gibson.
It absolutely did to Jim Caviezel. I also saw an article today saying that he's supposedly saying that Sound of Freedom is outselling Indiana Jones. I'm just saying. Like,
on what metric?
I didn't. It was before the show. We could maybe talk about it tomorrow if it's interesting enough. But I'm just saying, press X to doubt.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. I'm excited for the Sound of Freedom, but I'm just not sure if I'm buying that, Jim. I'm not 110% sure. All right, we got some super chats there.
Yes. Spaghetti Warrior 66 said, nice to have you back, Mary. How did you like the French cuisine? Italians do it better.
Is that true?
Yeah, I think I liked all the food I had, but I'm not sure if I had like the pinnacle of French cuisine. I ate snails.
Ew.
I know you're gonna react like that, but they just taste like mussels.
That's just
Have you had mussels?
It's all wrong. Sorry. No to all of it.
It's like not nearly as exciting as you would think.
Is it seafood technically?
Maybe. I guess. Yeah.
I don't eat anything that comes from the water ever.
That is
my
childish,
dad traumatized me when I was very young. He once told me that fish sticks were chicken nuggets.
Fish sticks are hardly even seafood.
I don't
Who
care.
knows what's in
I
there?
was very young, and I've never trusted a soul.
Whatever.
I've been I don't trust people. Ever since then, I haven't trusted a soul.
The snails I had were okay.
Thanks,
I
Dad.
also had beef tartare, which freaks a lot of people out, but it was really good. The last of my kind said, Mary, how did you like wearing a lace hair veil? Many women in Central American Pentecostal Protestant churches wear them. I didn't know that. I thought it was mainly like a Catholic and Orthodox thing, but I usually do at Mass. I just was advised to, because like in Europe, if you're at churches, it's more so expected of you. But that wasn't the case because basically all of these old churches in France that are like ancient, they're owned by the state. And I even went to one in Toulouse where the remains of St. Thomas Aquinas are. And
did you have a pint with him?
Because it's because it's owned by the state, there were pride decorations in there.
Of course.
And I just find that really disheartening and gross. But the rest of it was great. Peter Leo said, hi, Mary. This is not on any topic. I'm a Jesus-curious agnostic currently trying out an evangelical church. Should I try a Catholic church? Can one just go to a Catholic church alone? Well, did you think I was going to say no?
She's like,
yeah,
no,
you're asking the Catholic on the panel, should I try out the Catholic church?
She's like, I don't know if that's for you, buddy.
Was I going to shoo you away? I mean, yeah.
Mary's very strong in the gatekeeping.
You obviously can. And you can go alone.
Mary goes door to door to tell people to not go to church. That's what she does. She's like, have you heard about our Lord and Savior, none of your business? And then she just tells them, like, whatever you do, don't come to, in fact, maybe it could be reverse psychology. Whatever you do, don't come to Mass at this time on Sunday just to piss people off. So then they'll come to Mass just to spite you. Yeah.
Well, if you go to a Mass, just don't receive the Eucharist, but that's all you really need to know. Porco Rosso Forever said, Mary, on your trip, I was only assuming that you ate and you prayed and you loved.
Uh-oh.
Any connection to a certain Julia Roberts movie is all in your head. Why are you so obsessed with that movie? I'm not obsessed with that movie. I watched it because it seemed to affect so many awfuls in our culture on a very deep level.
It's the awfuls.
And by the end of it, I just felt like it was a horror movie.
Read one more and then we will move on.
The last of my kind advised at Peter Leo, pray about it, bro.
There you
Well,
go.
pray about it, but also just go to mass.
There you go. All right. Let's move on, shall we? Mary, tell me all about Miranda Sings, because I had no idea who this person was, and it creeped me out when you told me this.
Yeah, you had never heard of her?
I had never heard of Miranda Sings.
All right.
Believe it or not.
Well, okay. Miranda Sings was one of the OG YouTubers in the early 2010s. When I was like 11 to 14 age range, this was like the YouTuber to follow. I never understood the appeal. Basically, she has this character she plays called Miranda. Her real name is Colleen Ballinger. And her character wears like this overlined red lipstick and has this stupid voice that she uses. I actually heard now that she has based that character off of a mentally disabled person in her family, which is really suspect. But anyway, she is under fire right now because she has been accused of having some creepy, grooming, parasocial relationships with her underage fans.
We have a $20 super chat there from Deuce Boogaloo.
He said the only unforgivable sins in Hollywood are slights against black people and the alphabet community, and supporting Trump or DeSantis. Also, did you see Rolling Stone is blaming the Call of Duty boycott on Gamergate?
Dude, they
LOL.
love Gamergate. The media loves Gamergate.
What's the Call of Duty boycott
That's the
situation?
stuff with Nick Merckx and Tim Tatman, where Nick Merckx basically had a tweet that said leave the kids alone over like an incident that happened outside of some school board meeting that had to do with the LGBTQI plus community. And
Right.
Call of Duty,
Well, how dare he?
Call of Duty pulled his skin in the game, and then Tim the Tatman, who's a friend
literal
of his,
skin in the game.
yeah, well, you know what I'm saying, like his character skin. And then after that, Tim Tatman said, like, look, me and him came up together. It doesn't feel right, me having mine and him not having his, so he asked them to pull his.
Oh.
And yeah, and so
Did you guys cover this while I was
we did.
gone? Okay,
we
yeah.
talked about it a little bit. So it was crazy because all of these boycotts keep going on, and I used to be like, I'm not pro boycott all, like, for myself. Like, look, if I need something from Target, I'm gonna go to Target. But I'm seeing a lot of good come from the people that are sticking by these things, right? So.
Well, the question of boycotting a mega corporation like Target is a lot bigger of an ask for people than an individual product or brand.
Yes. So, but I guess like Bud Light is no longer the best-selling beer in America, which is crazy. So,
But is another Anheuser-Busch beer?
That's not even what bothers me, because I understand like InBev probably owns both the top-selling beers. I don't know,
wonder.
but I do know this. I do know that it's insane to think that if you've been the best-selling beer for this many decades, why did you think you needed to change your marketing strategy anyways?
Because they hired an insane
Awful.
academic.
Yes.
Awful.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Miranda Sings.
So Miranda Sings, yes, she has been accused of having creepy parasocial relationships with her kid fans. They are mostly kids because her content is mindless garbage. No, like, I'm not gonna like
It's like us, but
sugarcoat it. It's
like us,
bad.
but creepy.
Yeah, and she's kind of pivoted into her using her real personality online anyway. But yeah, back in the early 2010s, she had a group chat with many of her young fans called Colleen's Weenies. And they were mostly aged 13 to 17. And specifically, one of her fans named Adam McIntyre has made a bunch of videos exposing what was really going on in those group chats. And he showed messages that were really disturbing. One, he said she asked her underage fans if they were virgins. And
Why are you doing that, lady?
Asked favorite position. And also, he said that she overshared to him on a personal level in individual messages. And I think, like, this all happened when he was between 13 and 16, when she was over 30.
This is a symptom of people considering women to not be
Totally. Yeah.
predators.
She overshared to him about details of her marriage and her marital problems, her sex life with her husband, her divorce, stuff that you should not be oversharing with any of your fans, let alone
pay a therapist,
children
lady,
who idolize you.
Pay a therapist.
Right, exactly. Like, go to therapy or have an adult friend that you talk to about this stuff. It's like absolutely disgusting. So another thing that was exposed from Colleen's Weenies is
that I can't believe you can say that name with a straight face. It's insane.
she asked this fan, Adam McIntyre, for ass pics when he was like 15 years old. and just had a relationship with him on an individual level that's just not normal. I don't think any over 30 person should be friends with someone between the ages of 13 and 15. That's just, it doesn't seem right to me. It doesn't seem like an actual friendship. It seems like you're using this person. She also used him as a social media intern, unpaid.
So she's cheap too.
And then blamed him when he posted jokes that were considered insensitive and homophobic.
Thank you. This is cleansing my palate here.
Despite him being gay himself. She sent this particular fan as well lingerie in the mail.
Dude, it just keeps getting worse.
Yeah, when he was 14 years old. His parents saw this and confiscated it.
That interaction
Thankfully.
must have been ridiculous. Like, no, you cannot have the 30-year-old lady's lingerie.
And actually, he showed this evidence. Like, he still has it. So we know that she did this, which is just like...
It's even weirder the parents like give it to him when
This
he's
is
18.
pedo behavior.
Yeah.
This is pedo behavior. I don't care if you think it's an inside joke. You can't have a joke like that with an underage person. That's disgusting. Another video that he posted from this group chat was her putting a tampon in her mouth and encouraging the other members of the chat to send videos doing the same. How about we show that one?
Yep. Let's. Which one are we showing first?
The tampon video.
Okay. Here we go.
And then she also had fans show up to her meet and greets doing the same thing with tampons in their mouth. Yeah. Why? I don't understand.
Look, I know that I am very blessed to have a very good job, but some days, dude, I'm not working manual labor. I've got it very easy in terms of like what I have to do physically at work. But speaking of that, stuff like this just kind of makes me like a little bit ill.
And let's also play the clip from her live stream where she was telling this fan she would send him lingerie.
How old again?
He was like 14 or something.
You laugh. I want to send him something. Do you want the bra, Adam?
Do you want the bra and panties? Tweet right now.
I'm sending him something. Okay, maybe he'll want the panties. Although then his parents will be like, "You're not allowed to watch who is sending you panties." Even mom, don't worry. I watched a boy wear them online first. You laugh. I want to send him something. Do you want the?
So yeah, that was in broad daylight, and nobody has brought it up until he first made a video in 2020. For some reason, back then, people defended her. She made an empty apology video.
She's like, I'm so
basically
sorry.
Being like, I don't know, I send weird stuff to my fans all the time. I didn't think this was any different.
You didn't send him a cup. You didn't send him like some type of like a roll of I don't know.
Well,
dude.
she also just the other week she said she sent one of her fans a piece of toilet paper. Hopefully
I was literally
unused.
just going to say like a roll of toilet paper.
Yeah, she literally has done that. And it's like, that's just unfunny. Like, your sense of humor sucks and you're a creep. And also she does live shows for her fans who are mostly children where she routinely does embarrassing and like sexually themed skits with these kids. How about we show the little boy reaching in her pants skit?
Oh gosh, I thought we were done. Okay, here we go.
The reach in my pants little boy for some cheese balls joke.
That's hilarious!
There's a lot
Yeah.
of content that you won't find on YouTube or anywhere else unless you attend one of Miranda's live shows. One of the most inappropriate comedy skits we have seen is from audience members recording her cheeseball skit without her knowledge. Miranda starts off this skit on how to go on a date, which is already an unnecessary lesson to be teaching to children since they're obviously way too young for that kind of activity. She has a boy accompany her on stage who is, I'd say, maybe 10 years old. She plays out the scene where she's leading her date into the woods so that they can be alone and proceeds to tell her date that you should always pack a snack because a girl loves to eat.
Next thing you need to do, always remember, boys, pack a snack because a girl loves to eat. Am I right?
She turns to the 10-year-old boy and tells him, I know you didn't pack a snack, but that's okay. I packed a snack for both of us, so wait right here. I'll go get it.
I know you didn't pack a snack.
This is the part where things really start to go off the rails because Miranda comes back with her favorite snack, cheese balls, and tells the audience, you can't just flail your cheese balls around because there are bears out there, so of course you need to hide your cheese balls.
You can't just flail around the cheese balls when you're on a date in the woods because there are bears out there and they will try to eat your cheese balls.
At which she then proceeds to stuff the bag of cheese balls into her pants. She then announces, now my cheese balls
Cocaine
are
is a
hidden
hell of
from
a
the
joke.
bears, except for this bear right here.
So you have to hide your cheese balls. So for example, now my cheese balls are hidden from the bears, okay? Except for this bear right here.
Implying that her 10-year-old guest on stage is a bear after her you-know-what. Then she asks the audience, want a cheese ball? Directing her pelvis towards them.
Wait a minute. Want a cheese ball?
Mind you, these are mostly very, very young kids in the audience who she's asking if they want to reach into her pants for cheese balls. Not to mention their own parents accompanied with them hearing these jokes. She then proceeds to make her guest feel very uncomfortable and directly asks him the inappropriate question if he wants a cheese ball. They then cut the scene early by having Josh interrupt, and Miranda responds with, it's not what it looks like. At face value, this comedy skit.
Okay. And keep in mind, there are parents of these children in the audience, obviously, cheering it on. And we talk about, like, people taking their kids to drag shows and how this is grooming. I would say, like, I'm not going to put a double standard over it. Like, this is also a form of grooming. Yeah. Because you're making a sexual innuendo to the adults in the audience that the children don't understand and asking them to participate in it. And there are other examples of this as well. Like, one time she had a little girl on stage and did a skit with her where she pretended, like, gave this girl a script where she had to pretend to be giving birth. And then she came out from up under this girl's, like, in between her legs. Like, it's very inappropriate, obviously. And there are other examples of this stuff as well you can look into for yourself. We have one from Brandolph the Strange. Hey, Brett and Mary, longtime fan of the show. With companies recognizing how unprofitable and downright disgusting woke or gender ideologies are, do you think these major companies would help with the cultural shift?
I don't know if I buy that these companies look at it that way. I don't think they see it as unprofitable, and until we can remove the idea that these companies have ESG funding, whether we're talking about through loans or your credit score through the company, like, I just don't buy it. Like, I think this will keep happening. I was talking to someone recently because I pointed out, I said, like, look, Warner Brothers has a higher ESG score than Disney. Which is hard to believe, but it starts not necessarily in the products. Like, it doesn't start with a Bud Light beer can or a character in a movie. It starts in your HR departments, and until you clear out these HR departments, this stuff will continue happening. And it will just get repackaged in various methods. I don't think that these major companies are going to make any shifts anytime soon. That's my personal opinion, but I could be wrong.
I don't think that Bud Light partners with Dylan Mulvaney. Target makes a Pride collection because they think, like, this is gonna sell big with the young folks. Yeah. They know that it doesn't sell. This is just what they believe, and they're using the products to further their
I don't believe the companies believe it. I think the companies just want whatever's going to get them the best press. And right now the press gives them this.
Think about the marketing VP of Bud Light. She's making these decisions because it's what she personally believes. These are her personal convictions. That's what I mean.
Yep.
Anyway, so this is just a scratch on the surface of what Miranda Sings has been doing with her fans on every level. This is something that these kids should have been shielded from by their parents, but it seems like not only did these parents not care, they openly endorsed their kids supporting this person and interacting with them. There's also new evidence that her brother, Trent Ballinger, has had inappropriate relationships with her underage fans who were using communication with him to get closer to her because they idolized her. he was like messaging a girl who was only like 13 or 14 and saying like, you look like my ex-girlfriend or whatever. Like, just things that you should never, I mean, you shouldn't be talking to a 13-year-old in the first place, but especially in that context, other than being like, thanks for the support. You know,
this is the crazy part of the internet, right? Like, I don't know if people actually contemplate just how, like, think about, like, if you're, like, what's his name? What's the guy's name? Trent?
You mean Trent Ballinger?
Yeah. Imagine Trent saying that to some kid at a playground.
Right.
It's insane, and you're going to be stopped by people, and they're gonna be like, why are you talking to this person who's not, that you don't know? Like, that's not a thing, right? That's just messed up, and people don't realize that thanks to the internet, these things are becoming more and more prevalent.
Yeah, so I think Adam McIntyre, when he first put out these allegations in 2020, was holding back a lot of information, but now that he's putting more of it out there, especially about this group chat, there's not really a rebuttal or an apology that would make sense for her to put out there. Like, there's no excuse for any of this. And especially now that we're having conversations about like celebrities or internet stars grooming kids, it's a bad look.
It does feel to me a little bit, and I don't mean to make this a gendered issue, like it's crazy that she felt like it was okay. Go ahead. Gordon Shumway.
He said, this Miranda video is really creepy. Reminds me of Pee-wee's Playhouse back in the day. There were a lot of adult jokes that were innuendos that you didn't notice until you're older. I'm glad people are finally calling it out.
I mean, like, look, the jokes are bad enough. It's the interaction with the kid.
It's the fact that you're bringing him on stage.
Yeah.
And this is something she toured around the country doing to hundreds of kids.
Yep.
Like, either decide that you're family friendly or make it very clear that this character you play was never meant to be family friendly in the first place, but don't toe the line there.
Be a Bad Kitty Mama says that's why we shouldn't trust hold on, it's just gonna move there. It's why we shouldn't trust adults who make content for kids. 99% of the time they're creeps. Like, I don't know about,
or they're just trying to scam you out of your money by selling merch.
Yeah, I don't know about 99% of the time. Obviously that's just a figure of speech, but I don't know what the numbers are. But I'll tell you this, every time an article comes up about Mr. Rogers and it's not that he's a creep, I breathe a little bit of sigh of relief that I'm like, oh, thank gosh.
Can there be one good guy?
Like him and Bob Ross. Like, let's just make sure that Bob Ross and Mr. Rogers, like, look, as a fellow cardigan wearer, I don't want to find out that Mr. Rogers was a creep. Okay, I don't. And I do think, and I don't know if this is necessarily true, but I feel like most of the men on the internet today wouldn't even dare, we'll get to that, like, we wouldn't even dare try to have those types of interactions so brazenly with underage fans. It just feels like she doesn't believe there's going to be consequences because society refuses to look at women as if they can be any type of predator.
This one from Trucker and Taurus says, shameless plug, Yingling is a sponsor of an all-ages drag show. This is unacceptable. Go to timcast.com and sign up to join us on Discord in our efforts to put an end to this. Welcome back, Mary.
Yeah.
I heard about that.
Like, I wonder if now, it's like, here's the thing, like, the crazy thing about the boycotts is, like, you really do now have to go down a rabbit hole every time you want to support a product.
Well, the stream of black pilling happenings just never ends.
Yeah. It's like,
but like, clearly this has been going on for a longer time than we realize.
I love supporting me some Jeff Bezos because he's just a ruthless capitalist, and like, I don't know what he believes, and I don't want to know what he believes. I just want him to marry his weird sex bot fiance and go out on his yachts and take his HGH to get buff, and just don't ruin it, because there's so many things I like to buy on Amazon.
There's one more thing I'm dying to find out about from this Miranda Sings situation. It seems like she pulled a little bit of an Amber Heard, and her donations to child cancer charities have some shady. It's a little bit shady, so I'm waiting for more information about that. But yeah, overall, this is just a despicable person.
So does she live stream on YouTube?
She's she's mainly a YouTuber.
Okay, so they're like, what, kids with their parents' credit cards that like super chat her?
No, she doesn't live stream.
Okay, she doesn't live stream, just videos.
Well, she did live streams. This is when she was offering him the lingerie or whatever. But that was years ago before TikTok was ever a thing.
Yeah,
protect your kids from YouTubers and like be suspicious of anyone who's trying to court an audience of kids.
We had a conversation
it's almost
recently.
always sinister.
We had a conversation recently where we were talking about swearing on this show, and we were saying, and I mentioned that Tim talks about it too. Like, some people watch IRL with their kids, some people will watch this show with their kids, and that's with their parents, right? This is not something I wouldn't, first of all, if I was a kid, I wouldn't find much of this very interesting, right? Like, is this really all that interesting to somebody who's doesn't care about the news, especially entertainment news? Like, it's not supposed to be like for kids. Like, it's like we cuss every so often, and the stuff we talk about is certainly not stuff that kids really should be hearing about a lot of the time, unless they have a parent who can put these things into context.
But ultimately, that's up to the parents, and that's their decision. But clearly, all of these fans of Miranda Sings were just like browsing the internet unsupervised, which is never a good idea. And the new generation of parents is realizing that. I hope, especially Gen Z parents.
Bad Kitty Mama says, kids like movies and superheroes. Yeah, but do they like Ezra Miller? I don't want them to like Ezra Miller. That's the thing. I don't want them to like these people. If like, you should not put any of these celebrities on a pedestal. Any of them.
I can't imagine being such a diehard supporter of Miranda Sings that like now some of these people are trying to SWAT Adam McIntyre's apartment.
It's insane.
And he's had to like file a police report about it. And imagine like explaining this situation that's gone on for over a decade. He's 20 years old now, and he started being a fan of this person at 11. Imagine explaining that situation to the cops over the phone. Like, it's just like so absurd, and it's incredibly blackpilling that these kids are still like, the new generation of kids is still on the internet without supervision. And
there's no way to stop it. Realistically,
there's
there's no way to stop it. Like, it's like there's like the line in the show House. He goes, "Why do these adult websites have these disclaimers?" He's like, even a 17-year-old can figure out how to hit "Yes, I am 18."
Well, yeah,
like, it's
even a 9-year-old can.
Yep.
It's unfortunate. So let's go to Super Chats.
All right,
that's all I had to say on the topic.
Wow, now that we're extremely black-pilled, let's go to Super Chats, shall we?
Alex making beds and writing novel on the side said, Mary is back, Mary is back, Mary is back.
That she is.
It's like boys, boys, boys.
Boys.
James Ornthal Wen said, folks, with an X. Gaga already told us she was born this way.
That is true. That is true. Do you have a favorite Gaga song? Just wondering. Favorite Gaga song?
I like Paparazzi. And Bloody Mary.
Oh, well, of course. Of course. Just Dance for me.
Although it is a blasphemous song. Carnell said, Brett, who would you rather interview more for the show? Eric July on the Rippaverse Entertainment, Shia LaBeouf on Transformers and Hollywood, or Chet Hanks and on Chet Formations and everything under the sun?
Dude, I want a round table of all three of those people, dude. Like, are you kidding me?
That's a meeting of the minds.
That might actually break my brain.
That's the intellectual dark one.
That might actually break my brain in the best way possible. Like, I think Mary would like to talk to Shia LaBeouf as well because of his religious his religious change in the convictions.
Yeah, we might be talking about the Padre Pio film tomorrow because it is getting some bad reviews and backlash from actual Catholic priests. Hypothesis said, when will Brett finally admit that
Triple H
and Stephanie have caused just as much damage to WWE's creative, if not more?
Look, you've said that. I have to admit, dude, I don't watch consistently anymore. I listen to wrestling podcasts to get my news when I can, and I totally buy that. I do believe that they should probably go a new way. Somebody asked the question yesterday. I don't know if it was you or somebody else who said, do you think that Endeavor would bring back the Ruthless Aggression or the Attitude Era? And I don't think you can bring back eras, right? It has to morph
unless you're Taylor Swift.
Unless you're Taylor Swift, it has to morph into something new because every era, whether it's in wrestling, whether it's the Ruthless Aggression era, whether it's the Attitude Era, it's not just based around how the stories are told, who the wrestlers are. A lot of times they're a reflection of the culture in the world at the time. So like a big thing when they talk about Stone Cold Steve Austin, the reason that character was so influential and so it was something that so many people could identify with is because he hated his boss and he liked to beat up his boss. And what guy doesn't want to drink beer and fantasize about beating up their boss every once in a while? That was we're talking, this is at the time when the movie Office Space has come out, right? So this is it catches fire with the period in time. The Rock has his own sense of humor. It reflects the culture, and I don't know if you can necessarily manufacture that in the way that they imagine. So, but I will say that you're probably right. Triple H and Stephanie have probably caused just as much damage creative, but not knowing how much Vince is involved now also makes a difference. Like, I don't know. Just because they say he's not involved doesn't mean he's not. So we'll have to see.
Shane H. Wilder said, Mary is doing her penance by viewing all of the worst cringe. It is thankless work, but someone's got to do it.
You do it stoically.
Here.
You do it stoically and with grace. It's very good. One more and then we will move on. Oh, Hypothesis sent another
a couple
one.
Things. He said, could Brett chokeslam JD from New York, one of the biggest cancers of the, what is this?
YWC.
I would ask him
something
to
wrestling
also
community?
do wrestling otaku, but he might be special.
Is YWC different than IWC, the internet wrestling community? I don't know. So, but
he also said Mel Gibson spoke out against those who made him.
And look, I can't chokeslam anyone because I'm not tall enough. I'm not tall enough to chokeslam. If I could, though, I do have a favorite finishing move, though, and that's Sister Abigail from Bray Wyatt. I think that's one of the cooler moves and something that doesn't require high strength to do, but had a unique delivery. So, just my opinion. Let's hold off on the rest, and we will come back. Let's talk about Andrew Tate a little bit, huh? Because Andrew Tate is back in the news. They have upped and changed and expanded the human trafficking charges against him in Romania. And he had a very, very popular live stream episode of the emergency meeting the other night on Rumble. 432,000 concurrent viewers at one point. That's crazy.
Do you want to watch a little bit of the stream?
Can we just? I have it. I just happen to have it pulled up here. Like
having this many viewers on Rumble is remarkable. By the way,
I could just hit play and see like just whatever he says at this point because I don't have any timestamps pulled up. I wonder what he's saying it right at this exact second.
Okay.
Nobody tried to start a fight on me. I didn't run into the same people Andrew did.
Oh, this was him telling. I think he's telling. This is Tristan Tate telling a prison story.
Oh, okay.
So
but if I walked into a room full of prisoners, they looked at me and thought, "Fuck! I hope that guy's not a rapist. I hope that guy's not violent." I didn't have to walk in there and think, "Oh, I hope these guys aren't violent. I hope these guys aren't dangerous," because I spent years preparing for any situation. Now, did I think I was going to go to jail? No. And neither do you, but let me tell you something. Here was my method to stay out of jail. I thought, if I never commit any crimes, I won't go to jail. This is what I thought until maybe 1 year ago when the Matrix started attacking us in this way.
Does anybody else, when they hear The Matrix, think of Agent Smith literally following them around? That's what I think of now. And I don't think of the amorphous wool that's been pulled over the eyes of the general public in the way that they display it. I want to think instead of actual Agent Smith following them around and trying to catch them. It's
so funny that any 2 minutes that you could pull up from this stream is a soundbite. They talk in sound bites. It's like a different language.
They're very well spoken, and they know how to make content that can be pulled from easily. And that's something that's true of people that are media trained. But they talk about a lot of different stuff in this segment. I had thoughts on it when I was originally looking at it. So what they did is they upped the charges against him to what is called, again, to Andrew Tate now, not to Tristan Tate. Human trafficking in continued form is what they called it. And he also addressed the BBC interview and the fact that the lady wouldn't acknowledge like who is it that made these claims against you all these years ago. And they do point out that it's very hard. Like, how am I supposed to take it seriously when you're saying this person that I can't corroborate said this thing about me 9 years ago? Like, well, what does that mean? I could make a claim against you that could mean anything if there's no actual name or source to back up what you're saying. Anybody can say anything about anyone. Their logic being like, look, I'm a wanted man. People want to take me out because I'm reaching tons and tons of young men and I'm changing the culture. So any anonymous claim can be made against anyone. And that's absolutely something that I think is worth at least talking about. They talk about how the 5 separate charges were dropped, but the trafficking charges were upgraded. And they mentioned that one of the things that bothered me in the Digcerto article that talked about this, they lump in the human trafficking charges with R-word claims, meaning that they try to put them in the same context. Is he guilty of all this stuff? Maybe, probably. I don't know.
It's different.
Like,
there's a civil suit in the UK with, I think, 3 or 4 anonymous women accusing Andrew Tate of physical abuse and R-word. But that's totally separate from the human trafficking charges that he's facing in Romania. Yeah. And then that even is totally separate from the charges that Tristan Tate is facing, which you said this has something to do with TikTok?
So they said, but in the year, he explains in the video that the charges were laid that said that in 2021, starting in 2021, they formed a criminal gang to steal the money made by women on TikTok. Like, I guess that was the extent of their. He says this is after they ran the Camgirl site. He also mentions, he says that he did run the Camgirl site. He does not run the Camgirl site anymore, and that the people that worked for him still stay on good terms with him. We can't confirm any of this. I don't know whether these guys are guilty or not. I do know that they're extremely influential to the culture, far more, I think, than any of the people we were talking about earlier.
Influential in a good way or a bad way?
I think there are plenty of things that Andrew Tate says that are absolutely good pieces of advice for young men. We talked yesterday about his story, about what he was telling these ladies on Fresh and Fit about his grandmother. I believe that to be a sound story.
What was he saying?
He was saying, he's like, look, in 50 years, nobody's going to care about what job you had. And he tells a story about his grandmother who's surrounded by all these people, life that was brought forth by her. Right? I think that there's plenty of things that this dude has said that are absolutely good pieces of advice to give young men. Whether he's a good person or not, now we're getting into the he said, she said, I can't know.
Well, it just seems like for every clip where Andrew Tate is saying something of substance that you could say is like a good piece of advice for young men, there's another clip to match it where he seems at least to totally contradict himself.
Yeah.
And another thing I wanted to bring up is, like, in this live stream, he said he has like faith and he has trust in the Romanian judicial system. But given what he said about why he moved to Romania in the first place, it doesn't seem like he does. In a now deleted clip, he said that probably 40% of the reason he had moved to Romania in 2017 was because he believed it would be easier to evade R-word charges. Yeah. Quote, I'm not an R-wordist, but I like the idea of just being able to do what I want. I like being free. So I don't have trust in the Romanian judicial system. I don't think that he should either, especially after him being detained without any... I mean, that's not something that happens in the U.S. Unless you're part of J6. Being detained without charges, without a trial yet. But all of the things that he's been accused of, like, they are horrifying.
Yeah. In the chat, Negative YouTube says he's referring to what Andrew Tate said. He says the guy who has no kids and runs through broads. I'm assuming that he's saying that, saying about Andrew Tate. Tristan Tate has kids, but, like, look, advice can be good and a story can be good, even if necessarily the person's ideals fall short of it, right? Like, that's not necessarily the thing. It's like when we watch these movies, right? If I go see a movie with a guy, if the performance is good, I'm going to like the performance. Whether that person who gives the performance lives up to that, to who they are in the real world,
sure,
I don't necessarily know or care.
Another thing that I want to know about this human trafficking
they're saying Andrew Tate does have kids. Maybe they were talking about something like
Does he?
Does he? I know Tristan has kids.
I want to know who these two suspects are in the human
women
trafficking case that are Romanian nationals who are women.
Yeah.
Their identities haven't been released yet for some reason, but they are allegedly involved as well. And then there's another separate investigation into a different Romanian national named Vlad Obuzic, and 2 other suspects who allegedly recruited women by pretending to want to date or marry them and instead coercing them into producing pornographic content.
Here's the clip. Somebody found the clip of Tristan Tate. So here, I'm going to play this one. This is him talking about his charges.
Okay.
Years ago, does this link into the case somehow? I'm going to tell you what we are accused of, and I'm allowed to talk about this because it was on my arrest documents. Here is the official story.
Roki.
In 2021, 2 years ago, my brother and I formed an organized criminal gang with the intent of moving women to Romania so we could steal money from their TikTok accounts to enrich ourselves. I think it's very important that I tell the world this and come across explaining what we're accused of, because people are asking very normal questions, even fans of mine. Hey, Tristan, you used to run a webcam studio. I no longer run one, but yes, I used to. How is this linked into the case? That has nothing to do with the case. There is no link between what I'm currently being accused of, what I'm currently going through, and any activities I used to do with running webcam studios. Everyone who works for me has sent me letters of encouragement, emails of encouragement. I appreciate them all. I appreciate the love.
Scared me. Thank you.
But the narrative.
Now what I want is Ian and Andrew Tate on an episode together. What if we get Ian and Andrew Tate on
For an acapella trio.
Yes, I'm down. Look, it's all like one of the things that I found true about.
This is misleading, right?
I mean, this is Tristan talking about his charges.
The human trafficking
not,
case that's against Andrew Tate, not Tristan, does involve the camming sites.
Maybe. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. All the information is so muddled that I don't know whether that's the same or different. And that seems to be a running theme with all of the stuff that involves Andrew Tate. Is it's very good at muddying the waters as far as like what's real, what's true, and what's not.
I mean, I do believe that's intentional.
When he got arrested, people were in the comment section where 5 people would say yes, no, 5 people would say no. This is an old photo from an old arrest. This isn't current. He hasn't been arrested. 5 more people would say no, this is new. He was arrested in 2021 and released several hours later. This is new. And like, how much time does the average person have to go look through all these responses? No. Yeah. Like, the internet really is an Orwellian kind of hellscape of information, which you won't ever know whether anything is 100% real or not. And it's actually bad, I think, for the average person's mental health if you have to look at everything and never feel like you have solid footing under you about what's real, what's true, what's happened, what hasn't. That's dangerous.
Yeah, even after like trying to research through this and like parse through the allegations, it is hard to understand what's actually going on. But from what I can tell, Tristan Tate here is just talking about the charges that involve him.
Yes.
But the ones that involve...
But he also says, my brother and I formed a criminal gang. So
that would involve both of them. But what involves Andrew Tate specifically and not Tristan would be involving campsites.
But I saw no
like
confirmation.
2013 through 2017.
But I saw no confirmation of that. All the stuff that I saw
that was in this article from the New York Post.
All the stuff that I saw that they were talking about from far back then was the women that were suing him and sent him the letter.
This from the New York Post article says that Romania's DICOT anti-organized crime prosecutors said 4 suspects are facing charges of R-word and forming a criminal gang to sexually exploit women. That has nothing to do with TikTok. Yeah. Each has been under house arrest in Romania since March 31st, and they added a 7th victim to the investigation. So this is all involving the campsite.
Okay.
From 2013.
The stuff I'm seeing here, it says Romanian prosecutors are expected to issue an indictment with details of the formal charges leveled against the brothers and their associates later this month, which could mark the start of the trial. They're
going to announce a trial date later this month.
Yeah, and they talk about the letters that these women wrote to him. It says, separately on Wednesday, lawyers representing 4 women in the UK delivered a letter to Mr. Tate at his home in Bucharest. They accused Mr. Tate of R-word, serious assault, and coercive behavior.
This is separate, though.
Yeah.
This is the UK case.
So it's like there's
the
so much.
The lawsuit in the UK is totally separate from the campsite thing.
Yep.
So once again, it's like just so unfathomably convoluted. Yep. But they're the ones that are accusing him of R-word and physical abuse. One of them said that they alleged that Andrew Tate strangled her until she was unconscious during sex and continued to have sex with her unresponsive body.
Rick C in the chat is saying that the charges have nothing to do with the campsites. So again,
that's not what the Romanian DICOT said.
Yeah. So
that the ones that involve those 2 unnamed Romanian nationals, that does involve the campsites. Yep. So it's not about TikTok. For Tristan Tate, that's what he was talking about. That's separate. I have no idea what that's about.
Yep. And again, these are all allegations, and how do they prove any of it? Like, will the dude ever end up spending a day in jail? I have no idea.
They're investigating it. They've been investigating it for quite a while now. We'll find out later, I guess.
It's crazy. It's like, but just
during a trial,
it's not unreasonable to ask yourself the question, like I was talking about this earlier. Okay, like we used to live in a world where Hollywood would very, very aggressively work to make sure that their celebrities had clean-cut images so that they could give you, the viewer, the opportunity to feel confident that when you were watching a movie, you were watching a movie starring someone that maybe
good people,
right? So now we kind of live in a world where you go to a Flash movie, you're like, did this guy choke slam? No, well, actually, no, we know he choke slammed the woman. Did this guy groom a bunch of kids? I have no idea. We watch Andrew Tate, 430,000 concurrent viewers. Did this guy traffic a bunch of women? No clue. We have just destroyed the illusion. He would say the Matrix. We have destroyed the illusion in the Matrix that everyone you consume content from is a good person, right?
Yeah,
like,
or we used to at least be served the courtesy of Hollywood hiding its ugliness.
Or even, like, think about how far back it goes in Hollywood. They wouldn't even want people, like, it's not like it wasn't until recently where it became passé to have a redemption story from drugs or alcohol or something like that. They wanted to make sure that a person's image was as clean cut as possible. Even something like this show, where I'm open about the bad, just the mistakes that I had made, about things I did when I was younger, addiction issues, things like that. Like, we've destroyed the illusion that the people you consume media from are these bastions of goodness and people that hold the same values as you do. It's just not the world we live in anymore. And I think when you get an influx of information, you're just, did he do this? Did they do this? Was this real? Was this real? At a certain point, your brain disengages. Mm-hmm. And you say, I have no idea. I can't know for sure.
Which is why people take hard sides in something that we really don't know about.
Exactly. Like, so it's like, is any of it real? I have no idea, but I do know that I'm watching this live stream, I'm watching this, and it's entertaining. And that's really all the truth you can make of the matter. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that's a good thing. I don't know if that's necessarily something as a society we want to strive for. I do know that it's more honest to the world we live in than the one that Hollywood used to portray us back in the day.
Yeah.
But whether that's a good thing or not, I can't actually say. I suspect that maybe it raises kids into a world where, if the best possible outcome is that it raises kids into a world where they have no illusions about the people they see in the media, so therefore maybe it helps eliminate the idea of hero worship a little bit. They're just like you and I, and oftentimes worse. Don't worship these people. They're false idols. But I don't know.
There are fans of the Tates that do kind of blindly worship everything they do and say. So that has not been the response, and I don't think
and nobody should worship any celebrity or any, like, if you're going to really look up to someone you actually know. Like, right. I guess, like, maybe that's horrible advice, but like
no, I think that's good advice. But unfortunately, like, I think Andrew Tate would even admit this. A lot of the young men that follow him and admire him don't have someone in their real life that they know who is a role model, especially a male role model.
Which is a failing of the culture.
To be
That's not a failing of Andrew Tate.
The surrogate father figure over the internet to a bunch of young men is not something I see as like aspirational. I think it's depressing.
It's an indictment of the culture. It's not an indictment of Andrew Tate. There's plenty that you can criticize Andrew Tate for, like him or not, but he didn't create this cultural hole that he's filling, right? Like, he did not create the void that young men feel in the world. He's simply, in many ways, creating a product and selling a message to people. A lot of people fear that message, sure, but it's not his fault that message is there.
Even when Jordan Peterson popped up on the scene.
Exactly.
Taking the same role as like this kind of father figure to a bunch of young men who didn't have that growing up, he was maligned in similar ways.
Mm-hmm. So maybe there's something to it. Like, look, they don't want society. They're not wrong. It does seem that mainstream media, Hollywood, these industries want to create a culture full of men who have no desire to inherit any level of masculinity, have no desire to have any type of alpha personality, have no ability to protect, defend, or stand up for themselves. We have continually tried to push the idea that women can be strong women, independent, don't need no man, but we didn't do anything for the last 20 years about how men were supposed to evolve.
Yeah.
So this
is the result you get.
This is what you get.
Like it or not.
Yep. So it's crazy because to me, it's like we could have avoided this if we had just found a way to better balance a culture that said, yes, women can be the CEO and women can be moms and they can do all these things. But guess what? Not all guys are awful people. Not all guys are evil.
They're saying it's the internet dads.
Well, yeah, they're
my internet dad is Alex Jones.
Is one an internet dad and is the other one like your internet cool uncle?
We got one from Unusable Alpaca. Not only has the pretend goodness of Hollywood fallen away, but in addition to that, the governments of the world, including ours, have shown just how corrupt they are.
Yes. I mean, a lot of that is just down to the fact that information is so much more readily available than it ever was growing up. Like, you don't have to any longer just accept the 4 main news sources that you get your information from. It does cause a problem because the overabundance of information makes it for people to be like, a lot of people are like, look, I give up. I don't freaking care. Like, is any of this real? I have no clue. I'm fine with that as long as you don't then assume that just because the media, the mainstream media is the one presenting information on the most channels, as long as you don't just assume that because it's the most seen that it's true, I'm fine with disengaging. As long as you're always willing to constructively criticize and call into question official narratives. So, yeah. We'll see.
Super chat time?
Yeah, let's do super chats.
Elijah Borges said, I think if some guy dressed like a street thug was getting jumped, he'd probably get less support than a sharp-dressed man in that scenario as well.
I think he's referring to the drink, something being poured in the drink.
If I were seeing someone dressed like a street thug getting jumped, I would assume there was some like context missing there, but there's no context that would make roofying someone okay.
Not at all.
I don't know about that comparison. He also said, shouldn't Cosby be free? He wasn't convicted, right?
I thought that was overturned.
I don't know the details.
Yeah.
But my personal opinion of Bill Cosby is not a high one.
This is another reason why I have a hard time when we talk about a lot of these things that involve criminal convictions, because outside of knowing, like, outside of somebody saying, yes, I am Bill Cosby and yes, I am guilty of all that, like, how do you know, right?
I'm also,
like,
I don't have the emotional bandwidth to care about the personal lives and the sins and offenses of every celebrity out there. I can't do it. So even though in a general sense I can say, yeah, that sounds bad, I don't personally invest my feelings in these situations.
And nobody should.
Yeah. Unusable Alpaca said, Modelo is America's new best-selling beer, but InBev only owns Modelo internationally. They don't own or run Modelo in America.
Thank goodness.
Interesting.
These colors don't run.
Patrick McNeely said, people like this should be dropped off in the middle of the night in the middle of Patterson, New Jersey or Camden, New Jersey. The folks from Jersey will understand why.
He's like, you New Jerseyans in the chat. You got me.
Okay. I don't understand, but let us know in the chat if you do. Shane H. Wilder said, the crazier these celebs get, the more I feel like Walter Sobchak? Is that how you
from
say?
from the Big Lebowski.
From the Big Lebowski. They're all effing PDF files.
Yeah. Bad people. Bad people, the lot of them, I say.
Because Reason said, need a corn dog? I'm not going to finish that.
Thank you for not finishing that. That's I like when we were, there was a couple of times when people sent super chats while you were gone. They're like, thanks for reading that. I don't think Mary would have read that one.
Were you the one reading the super chats, or was it?
No.
Aiden
I read the $20 ones and Aiden read the regular ones. So
he was reading some risque super chats.
there was some risque. I don't remember what they said, but yeah, probably something that you might have not. In fact, one of the ones they said they didn't think you would read, and I don't even remember what it said, but I was like, I don't know. I think Mary would have read that one.
Who knows?
Who knows?
The Last of My Kind said, I'm with Brett. I eat seafood with friends once a year to remind myself I still don't like it. I try everything, but it just doesn't taste right. I don't know. It's got to be like your heritage, that, like, right? Like your genetics play into it.
I don't know. Like I'm Croatian and I'm Polish. Is there seafood in?
Do they eat seafood?
I have no idea.
Let us know in the chat, guys.
I have no idea. Let's hold off on the rest. Let's come back. Let's talk. This is such a weird one. Let's talk about Jeffree Star. Tell us about Jeffree Star getting swatted, because we here at Timcast know about getting swatted. It happens. So.
Yeah, it's not funny and it's not okay. But Jeffree Star thinks it's funny when it happens to him. He recently got swatted at his property in Wyoming while he was on a TikTok live stream with 3 what looked like 18-year-old e-boys. And his reaction was hilarious.
Also, I just want to cut in for a second. Andrew, who works here, sent me an urgent message. He says, Patterson ain't even that bad. I grew up. He just says, he said that Patterson ain't even that bad. So thank you, Andrew, for chiming in.
Okay.
Continue.
So, how about we watch this this clip from the swatting?
Okay, here we go.
Also, like, he has this elephant filter that keeps going on and off of his face.
It's very hard to take your swatting seriously when there's like, imagine we were getting swatted here and Tim's like, we don't know who it is. They're trying to take us out. And there's like an elephant filter going on his face at the time. Here we go. There we go. Just disappeared.
Me and my assistant are in my house, cozy and chilling, and someone did a fake police call. There's a police car. There's an ambulance saying shots fired. You guys, I'm not kidding. Look.
And this is at the gates of his
lagging.
residence.
Wait for it. Wait for it. No way.
What? Someone watching this did a fake cop call on me saying that there was shots fired.
He's kind of a boomer for not knowing the term swatting. I like it.
At my ranch.
They got the cops called.
The whole town loves me.
He got swatted, bro. He's just got,
everyone in this town loves me.
I love the idea that Jeffree Star goes into town from his ranch and they just—it's like Jeffree Star Villa.
We love you, Jeffree.
There's like a statue
They're
of
waving
him.
handkerchiefs at him.
They throw roses at his feet, and there's a statue of him at the heart of the town. That's so awesome.
And look at these 3 very clearly intelligent and dapper young men.
You know, hey, you're judging.
They're adding a lot to the experience.
You're judging a book by its cover.
Whoever swatted me, you're a stupid motherfucker.
Hey, that's rude, dude. And sorry, guys. Sorry for the cuss word.
It's funny as fuck, but it's also really not because I'm so chill in my house.
That's not
so
funny.
we're allowed to laugh at it. Jeffree thought it was funny.
I thought Jeffree was 2 E's.
Yeah, it is 2 E's.
Oh.
They must have misspelled.
Okay.
No.
Listen,
It puts you in danger.
It's funny. This is
Is that guy bringing back puka shell necklaces? If so,
Puka shell necklaces have been back, Brett. Where have you been?
No, thank you.
It's e-boy and e-girl attire.
That is look, as somebody who went to high school in the early 2000s.
Well, they didn't.
Leave
so they
them.
Don't know that.
Leave them alone. Leave them back there. We don't need those here now. Is there more to this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, let's keep going. Here we go.
Listen. I got swatted. I'm not kidding. There's ambulances here thinking I'm shot and hurt.
Yo, was it the dude from the live?
Was it?
It had to be. It had to be.
Does that mean
Are you in a cop car? Wait, are you in a cop car?
No,
There's a bunch of.
I'm in my own Hummer. I have the electric Hummer.
Oh, well, he's got to be environmentally conscious.
Hold on, I can you flip the camera? Let me see that.
You guys,
sick.
I have 25 cars. Listen, there's
What kind
like
of...
even while you're getting
That's a
swatted
humble
and
brag.
you might get shot by the cops at any moment, you have to humble brag about having 25 cars.
The best part is that what if Andrew Tate cuts in and says, well, I have 37 Bugattis. and then just disappears.
I need to see their pissing contest.
Yes.
ambulance is here. There's a fire department, and all my neighbors think that I did something wrong. I'm sorry.
I don't even need to have 25 Hot Wheels.
If my neighbors are watching, I have no
So off topic.
He's like, well, that makes me feel creepy.
idea what's happening. Someone called the
How
cops.
do they know where he lives? Because it's easy to trace someone's IP when that.
No, but my ranch is public. I've never had this happen to me before. My animals are so bothered right now. People
His
are
alpacas are traumatized.
And it's literally got the elephant filter on him as he's saying this.
Fucking stupid.
Somebody says,
His alpacas are just running.
Somebody says, I bet the yaks are terrified.
Oh, it was yaks.
cool,
Yes.
What the freak?
going
Wait,
on,
Jeff, you
Sheriff?
got secure.
Hey,
What
man,
the freak?
That's just no joke. Like, you don't like it. We're laughing about it, but it's very could go bad.
Jeffree said it was funny himself.
Yeah, we're playing by his rules
Yeah.
here. We're playing by his rules.
Pretty like surrounding your like
He's shushing them.
He said, I'll tell you more
What if
when
they were like, Mrs. Star, get out of the car? He's like, it's Mr. Star.
I know it. Okay, so I'm just sitting here. He said, I don't want to get out of my car because
the e-boy meta where they pretend to get arrested. He's got the lights on him.
imagine something happens. What the freak?
What the freak?
What the heck?
In the middle of battling my friends, you guys, they're calling my gate and my assistant's like, yo, the cops are here. You need to like answer. And I'm like, why? We're on live. The fire department,
Imagine if that were Tim's reaction to getting swatted. He's like, the cops are outside. Why? We're live. We're literally live right
Like
now.
the answer could be like, look, I can't answer right now. Can somebody else answer? We're live, but not like, why would I? We're live. It's just
Don't you know that don't you cops know you're interrupting my very important TikTok
I like the
live stream
idea
with
that
e-boys?
he sends them the link, the embedded link to the
And they're
live.
like, oh, that makes sense. We'll just circle back.
Sorry, we'll come back afterwards to make sure that everything's okay.
texting.
Yeah, no, they send everyone when that happens.
Everyone is here.
Nah, yo, we got swatted.
Yak
We got swatted.
on, bro.
We're at my front gate. I'm not allowing these people on my property. I'm on the city side of the fence now. They're not going to my gate.
property rights king.
Yeah, all right, libertarian hero. I like it.
Absolutely not. Oh my god.
He needs to put one of those come back with a warrant.
Jeffree
mats
Star
out.
is literally the meme of like the gay couple with AR-15s living on a farm with like growing weed.
It's
He's
amazing.
literally the libertarian stereotype.
Let's go. Let's go. I'm with him here. So, is there more? Or is
Yes,
that
yes.
there's more?
Firefighter's here. Oh, he's cute. Hi. I'm actually really. I'm severely injured.
Yo, I fucking love Jeff, bro.
Yo.
They call him Jeff.
Yo,
Those guys really have to all be named bro.
Yeah.
They have to all be named bro.
He says one of the firefighters are cute, so he should pretend to be injured.
I can't even.
I'm sure Jeffree can't even either.
Look, like,
But this is like, is this because people are mad at Jeffree Star for saying they them pronouns are bullshit? Is that what this is
I
about?
mean, he's not. It's not like he's really all that controversial anymore. Other than that,
No, not anymore. He was in like the YouTube drama days. But
Yeah.
this is just puzzling. I found his reaction to it hilarious though.
it would make more sense as funny back in the back. It would have made more sense to get swatted back when he was actually more culturally relevant.
Well, it's funny that he left LA for Wyoming thinking that he was going to be like hidden away and have a more quiet life.
Yeah.
Where, by the way, his mansion is literally called the Hidden Hills Mansion. And yet, ironically, this happens to him.
Yep.
You really can't escape it because there are crazy people on the internet in every corner.
Master Yoda says just lost 100 brain cells. Send help. Look, hey, we never claimed to grow brain cells here for anyone. That's never been said.
I just love that. Oh, there are firefighters here. Oh, he's cute.
I just you should take it a slight bit more seriously. That's all
Maybe,
I'm saying.
yeah.
I don't know. Do you think that this is something that'll continue to happen to him if he speaks out more?
Well, it's not even really about speaking out. This happens to Twitch streamers all the time, right?
Aiden Ross is like first time.
Well, for Aiden Ross, I think that might have started out as something that was actually happening, but then he started faking it.
Yeah.
If I had to guess.
Yep. I just saw a thing the other day about a TikToker, or no, a Twitch streamer who some guy traveled 700 miles and started her car on fire.
What?
Yeah, like some like crazed fan like traveled 700 miles to her house and started her car on fire.
It's sort of like the Miranda Cosgrove
Yeah.
video. Where
Yeah.
She's like talking about some guy like planning a shooting and self-immolating in her front yard, and she's just laughing and smiling about it.
Like,
Now, people got like pretty mad at us for laughing at that,
Yeah.
but it was only because of her absurd reaction. Like, I'm not saying she should have reacted any certain way, but I'm laughing at this too, just because of like the absurdity of it all, not because you should like it's funny to swat people.
Mighty
Because that is an attempted murder.
yes, absolutely.
Full like point blank period.
I had to explain to my dad like what the dangers of swatting
Yeah.
was, right? Like it's not just like somebody called your house. They call somebody to your house with the indication that something violent has happened or something violent could happen because it forces the cops to be more aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just very, very scary. In the chat, Mighty Rax says, Mary, who's cuter, Jeffree or Andrew? I'm assuming they mean Andrew Tate?
Neither.
Neither?
Yeah, I don't think I would yeah, no. Just no. to that question.
Master Yoda says, oh, that OnlyFans girl, I saw that. She worked so hard for her car. Well, I hope she has insurance on it, because that was not a good story. I also saw another story recently about a girl with like a TikTok influencer who went on a bank robbing spree with her boyfriend.
What?
That's becoming my new guilty pleasure is to look up insane stories of influencers and people on social media that have these crazy stories.
They're like
happen
the
to
Bonnie
them.
and Clyde of
Of
TikTok.
TikTok, like that, and the one the other day of like Real Housewives of the Colonies. That was my favorite video that I've seen lately. So somebody says Lucius the Eternal says, when Tim Cass got swatted, did he bravely run out into a hail of gunfire? Yes, that's exactly what happened. No, I still remember the first time that happened, because me and Andy were outside when they showed up, and there were drawn weapons, and I still have the still image from the camera outside of the studio where me and Andy are like walking towards the cop car with our hands raised. He's like, hands up, visible, walk slowly to the car, and we're like, yeah.
And you're taking a huge gamble, because that could be any type of cop. It could be a short cop who is.
You never get pulled over, but like as a short person, a short person, the last thing you want to do is get pulled over by a short cop, because there's nobody more quick to try and prove himself than a short cop who's been clowned on by his colleagues.
And you don't want to get swatted at all.
Nope.
But especially not by short cops.
No swattings that are good. Swattings with short cops, even worse.
It's just crazy that this is so normalized now. Yep. Like I said, it happened to this kid, Adam McIntyre.
Yeah. All because
he's like talking about YouTube drama.
I think a lot of it too is there's like the internet creates a certain barrier to our morality for a lot of people. Like you can swat an avatar. You don't care because you don't see it as a fully functional person. You don't see it as a human being. You see it as just somebody you disagree with who's an image on a screen. Therefore, people are more liable to commit crimes or do things that could harm another person if they don't actually fully viscerally connect with what they're doing to the person.
I just don't understand the mindset of attempting to kill someone because you don't like their internet persona.
I mean, a lot of these people have grown up in a world where your internet persona is more important to them than a lot of people who are like my age or older might not really see it that way. You can distinguish between the two more effectively, whereas people who are younger who have grown up with technology and seen these types of dual personalities, you know, who you are in the real world, who you are online, it's something where they see them as more connected.
For the swattings that have happened here, I at least understand like they're politically charged topics that are discussed here, and that's why it could feel personal to someone. But like, you're swatting Jeffree Star. He makes makeup reviews.
It's such a throwback.
Very weird, constantly, once again, like blackpilling content.
The swatting stuff is because it's it's
not to make light of swatting. I'm making light of his reaction to it. Okay.
It's almost like somebody's pointed out to me once. They were talking about this. What was the most blackpilling thing about like when you started like questioning official narratives? It was when they found out about how common drone strikes were, and he said, all war and all death is depressing. There's something even more depressing about push to kill from...
Like it's a video game.
Like it's a video game. He said like something about that to him was extremely, like it shattered him in a way that he said like it felt like we had crossed a Rubicon as a society. Like even fighter pilots still had to physically go up in the air and put themselves in danger in a way that a drone pilot doesn't have to do. And he found that to be extremely painful to him. And it feels like that in a lot of ways is the same thing here. It's like you can now like order some attempted M on somebody across the country just because you don't like them. That's insane.
Yep.
So
let's go to Super Chats.
We got Super Chats. Let's do it.
Sketch Therapy said, bring young Ripa to IRL and PCC.
Yeah, I mean, cool. Eric has done IRL, but I definitely would like to get him out here. And it may be possible, like I said, I spoke to some people that work for him earlier on Twitter. You guys should tweet at them and say you want them to come on the show. But it would be cool to get them... You know, maybe he could do both shows. That would be very cool. I mean, he would want to also promote on IRL as well, with the large platform that IRL has to push his, or Culture War to promote his comics. So
Fear Me It's Bree said, my 4-year-old is around when I watch. I usually have headphones on. He loves Tim, and he calls Brett the other Tim Pool when I watch PCC.
Look,
how do you feel about that, Brett?
I have seen several very cutting comments where people have said, like the other one was that I saw recently was somebody said like, I want I want to watch Tim Pool. And it says, we've got Tim Pool at home, the Tim Pool at home, and it's the show. And I was like, that hurts.
We're really nothing like Timcast in reality, though.
I don't like. Well, they were saying it about me and like how I do the podcast. And I said I don't really see that. Me and
guy
Tim,
who does a podcast. That's Tim Pool.
Like, is it because I wear hats a lot of the time and Tim wears a beanie? Is it? I don't see it. But
when people ask you what you do in like other situations, do you answer that you're a podcaster, or do you say something like vague?
I don't say pod. I've never thought of even addressing it like that. I say like no, I say I run a podcast, or I work in a podcast,
okay, yeah.
but I don't say I'm a podcaster. I'm a podcast host.
You're divorcing yourself from it. You're like trying to create some distance.
I
get it.
Never even thought about it that way. Like it's maybe I will. Maybe like, yeah, I'm a podcast host from now on.
They're either like, what's a podcast, or they're trying to immediately Google what it is.
Yeah.
Hypothesis said JD might actually be shorter than Brett. Also, I meant they cater to young adults who grew up on Cena like they did with adults who grew up on Hogan.
Yeah. Also, another thing is like,
he also said, imagine Andrew Tate bullying a Mike Tyson at WM40.
Oh my gosh, let's do it. Somebody says I'm Tim Light. Tim Lite. No. Like Bud Light.
You're not like him.
I'm down for Andrew Tate to show up at WrestleMania 40. He is a kickboxing world champion after all. There's some precedent there. You know what you could do? You could have him and the Paul brothers fight at WrestleMania 40.
Do they wrestle?
Logan wrestles.
Logan, okay.
Logan wrestles. Jake boxes and Logan wrestles, or it might be the other way around. But yeah, and he's like, the funny thing is, if it's Logan or Jake,
they could do it by age.
What it is like Logan turned out to be kind of a prodigy. Like he's really he's had like 3 matches, and I watch wrestling podcasts with people who are like nerds, right? They don't give quarter to people. Like if anything, the celebrity cameos usually end up being a huge bust. Mm-hmm. And they're like, he didn't just show up to a match and like do a move. He wrestled legitimate matches with legitimate wrestlers and has had good matches every single time. Mm-hmm. So he did a thing where he jumps off the top rope outside to the announce table, off the top rope, holding a phone on a live stream. It's such a weird mixture of cultures altogether.
Patrick McNeely said, my favorite movie star can't commit any crimes. After all, how would a 63 Beetle with red, white, and blue stripes and the number 53 commit such terrible crimes?
Look, the other thing is like with the celebrities, is like back in the day, you just weren't as connected to the news, right? Like you got your Walter Cronkite report and you read your paper, which had a small entertainment section, which was focused mostly on big budget stuff that would have been coming from the industries that were around you. Now, you don't just have your influencers and your celebrities in your area or your country. You know, you've got maybe you're a BTS fan and you really want to know what Jimin is doing right now. Like you get your entertainment from all over the world. So,
yeah, I didn't live in the former era you're talking about.
Yeah.
Shane H. Wilder said, wait, someone swatted Dumbo's gay cousin while he was live streaming with the Three Stooges? What kind of world are we living in?
Ouch.
Dumbo's gay cousin. Elijah Borges said, I was making a comparison to the data point Brett made, claiming folks are less likely to help scantily clad women being assaulted, figuring that would also apply to, say, men dressed like thugs. Agree.
Okay.
Well, I got that was your comparison. I just think it's a bad comparison.
I mean, they did, like, there's been plenty of times where it's been pointed out, like, look, if you go into a convenience store or a store dressed a certain way, you're more likely to have the people that work there follow you around as opposed to if you're dressed wearing a suit.
And I think that's like fair enough, right?
Yeah.
Like how you present yourself affects the way that people treat you, obviously. But I don't think that there's a fair comparison between like, would you help someone?
Yeah, it's not a 1-for-1 comparison.
Like if I see some guy getting jumped in the streets, First of all, I'm not getting involved because I'm a small woman and I wouldn't be any help anyway. But there's also like
It's the thought that counts.
possibly
Mary.
context there as to why that's happening. I'm not aware of. There's no context that justifies roofying someone.
There was I have this story. There's when I used to manage a gas station. There's this guy that would come in. He's just this. He's a paunchy, thick, like white dude who wore his pants down to his ankles, and it was such a throwback to the early 2000s. He wore a do-rag, and he came in and he would have to literally hold his pants up, and he'd walk around, and every time he'd come in, you know what he'd get?
What?
Yoo-hoo. He'd get Yoo-hoo.
Good for him.
And he'd get his Yoo-hoo, and he'd get his either chocolate bar.
Yoo-hoo's gross though.
And yeah, every time I'd be like, me and him would do the same thing. Every time I'd go, you sure? He'd say, yep. And then it was like literally being thrown back in time to 2004 to me. Like I was that guy. I wore the pants down to my knees.
Not a do-rag.
Not a do-rag, but but all skaters.
Did you see that photo of Jack Harlow wearing?
Yes. Yeah.
A bonnet.
Mm-hmm. He's very sick.
Cringe.
But I used to wear the big baggy sweatpants that would hang down to your knees because that's what skaters did at the time. It was part of the culture. So, and I think back to, I wasn't skinny because I ate well. I was skinny because I was literally wearing so much fabric I would sweat out my body weight every day. It was amazing.
Life hack.
Yep.
Perturbed Alpaca said, would you say the alpacas were perturbed?
They probably were.
Or the yaks were... What? I'm going to workshop that. What were the yaks then? Sketch Therapy said J-Star equals pro-property plus pro-gun rights plus anti-forced speech.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Like next.
Base Jeffree.
Next on the next Mises Caucus panel, we have Jeffree Star.
Unusable Alpaca said swatting should be charged as attempted murder or something in that realm. And if alpacas were indeed involved, I demand public flogging. I also have it under good authority. Alpacas are tax heroes.
Well, we support any and all tax heroes here at Pop Culture Crisis.
But what about yaks?
Yes, we support tax hero yaks. Tax yaks, we'll call them.
Yeah. Elijah Borges said, we don't have to care about keeping tabs on folks like Cosby to recognize we should probably not want anyone imprisoned without a conviction. Fair point. Well, I didn't say we should imprison people without convictions.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I'm saying that's one of the hardest parts about talking about those stories, right? Is where we end up really going immediately into theory and supposition.
I don't think we went that far.
Yeah, but I'm saying, you can't know. You can't really know. So we can only really go based off what we're reading, and what we're reading doesn't always have all the details. And especially with the Andrew Tate case, it's all so muddled that it's like, all I know is I find the guy interesting and Kevin Spacey's creepy, and that's how I'm going to delineate the two.
Yep.
But here's the thing. It's not going to prevent me from watching The Usual Suspects or House of Cards. If anything, it makes his performance in House of Cards more incredible. It's just a really depressing thing you have to admit to.
Ezra Miller being an unhinged criminal makes me more interested to see his performance in The Flash.
We are very close to a fourth Crisis Party, guys. Oh, by the way, yesterday, did you guys see the fourth Crisis Party or whatever it was? The sixth Crisis Party went off on the outro of the show the other day. It went off when we were in outro camera mode.
Wait, what?
The last Crisis Party went off once we went off air.
Mm-hmm.
So because if it comes too late, if the time that's scheduled on that cycle comes around, but I would like a fourth Crisis Party. It'll go off during the outro. Let's go.
I would like that as well.
Yes.
Shane H. Wilder said Brett is an international multimedia commentator. That's how you should introduce yourself.
Yeah, it's the guy's he's like,
Print
I don't
some business cards, Brett. Start handing them around town.
I don't work in fast food. So he goes, I'm a food and beverage distributor for an internationally known food company, and it's like he sells burgers at McDonald's.
Sell yourself.
Yeah, you gotta really know how to market yourself to really get it out there. So maybe I'll get some business cards that are printed out.
I missed this $20 one from Deuce Boogaloo. Sorry. He said, Brett, the reason you're compared to Tim is because you both have black hair. They don't even have black hair. Glasses, similar beards, and uniform headwear. I actually also look similar. Was once asked if I only watch podcasts with hosts that look like me. LOL.
Hey, there you go.
Okay, but firstly, both Tim and Brett don't always have beards.
And I'm also not Asian.
And Tim doesn't always wear his glasses.
Yeah, Tim wears his glasses sometimes.
I'm failing to see the similarities here.
I don't see it, as long as they're not...
He's also hatless today.
As long as they're not saying that I'm just copying the format. Because one thing I will say, every time I do IRL, I am continuously impressed by how well he moves his conversation along. When he does that opening monologue, he does that flawlessly, like every single time. That dude can talk.
He's slaying the game.
He's like, it takes about 550 tries before I get anything out without a bunch of ums, ahs, likes, and ers. I can't talk that fluidly. I wish I could.
Hiroshima Otaru said, what if it's her boyfriend and they're into roofies?
Honestly, the first thing I thought of is like if I was the person who got caught not intervening, I bet you there's at least one person who said like, look, I don't know what these people are into. There's plenty of stories.
Keep that in the privacy of your own home if you don't want someone to
There are
intervene.
plenty of stories of people who have those types of fantasies that do it by meeting in public.
Other people participate in your weird kinks and fetishes, no matter what they are. It's gross to put that stuff out in public.
Vote for Mary 2024. Bring decency back to America.
Please. I'm begging. Porco Rosso Forever said, Brett, do you do more? Did you see videos? What?
Did I see what videos? I would have to know what videos you're talking about, my friend.
I don't know what this means. Sketch Therapy said, I don't know Jeffree Star, but he likes 3 things the left cancels.
So free speech, property rights, and alpacas.
He's a libertarian icon.
Yep.
This is what I'm saying. High Voltage 75 said, I need to hear that awesome party sound once more. Mary, curious to know if you asked for French fries at any restaurant. Apparently the French like their fries.
There it is. You got it on the request.
There, not ketchup.
It's party time. Like, people like this one enough, we're gonna have to leave this one for a while.
I did get a burger and fries on one of my days in France because it was D-Day. So
Should have asked for.
I had to go with the patriotic choice.
You should have asked for freedom fries.
They'd be like, excusez-moi?
What is a freedom fry?
I think they just call them fries.
You should have, well, yeah.
Thoughts on fries with mayonnaise instead of ketchup?
I don't eat either with fries. I eat barbecue sauce with fries.
I got them with cheese sauce. It was really good.
That's good. Hey, we're going to see the Flash.
But it was blue cheese sauce.
We are going to see the Flash tonight, and I will absolutely be eating the crap out of some drunken fries because I have abandoned the macaroni and cheese bites.
And you do patronize the arts by buying concessions at the movie theater,
I do.
unlike certain people who will go unnamed.
There are certain blonde women that I know who have been known to sneak food in. I'm not naming any names.
That's what we're going to call it now, patronizing the arts. Grofty said, what's this button? I'm going to peck it. Buck.
Thank you, Grofty.
Are you in your chicken era?
The last time I was in IRL, Grofty sent a buck chat as well there, so thank you, Grofty.
Last of My Kind said, Homer Simpson's business card only says local man. We need to print some Pop Culture Crisis business cards.
It's just a big PCC, and then
Porco Rosso Forever said, I meant Brett's Have You Seen videos?
Yes, and I'm actually working on a second one right now. I've written out the key points about what I want to talk about on another television show. I tried to do one recently for another show and realized it wasn't really going to work because there's a show called Graceland that has 3 seasons, but it has one season that I love so much that I tried to make it about just that season and realized it's kind of a hard sell to tell people like, look, this is a show that
Don't finish it.
Don't finish it. It ends on a cliffhanger. Season 2 and 3 are provably worse, but that first season, guys, it is so good. Like, it's very hard to try and get people to do it, but I'll do it right here, guys. You should go watch Graceland Season 1 just for the cat and mouse game between the characters of Mike Warren and Agent Briggs. It's that good. That first season of that show is that good. I absolutely recommend it. It's also the last time you're going to see that type of amazing, like, very, very naturally diverse casting where nothing feels forced. The show is incredibly diverse and awesome, and everyone should go check it out.
Elijah Borges said, roofing someone wasn't the comparison, just talking about general reactions to people being physically assaulted, preconceptions all around. Agree?
I mean, I think there's always preconceptions when it comes to this stuff because we're talking about hypotheticals, and we're not actually looking at examples on screen or something like that. We weren't actually privy to what happened.
I think if there's a physical altercation, people are less likely to get involved all around.
These days? Like, what's the thing the left always jokes about? They said, like, or not even jokes about it. It's like one of their propaganda tools is like anytime something happens with a gun, they say, how much longer are we going to allow people to die so that men can have their fantasy about intervening with a gun, which is the most disingenuous argument ever. But...
Which is not a fantasy. It's happened many times.
Oh, yeah. Like, there's a guy on YouTube that I'm sure plenty of people here who follow gun culture know, named Masad Ayub, who talks a lot about statistics, about like actual interventions, the actual numbers based around, you know, the amount of people who die every year from guns, you know, what percentage of that are suicides or sewer slides, what percentage of that are this and that. And he gets really into the details, and it's really great to see because most of the time when people talk about these things, they talk about, absurd hypotheticals, and they talk about individual instances, which is not a broad scope when you're trying to talk about serious issues related to your rights. So I recommend him on YouTube. So. All right, guys, before we go, could you hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already? Thank you very much for that. And to share the videos with your friends, get other people to come and join us. We want more people to come and hang out with us. Mary, where can they find you?
You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on Twitter. That is also Mary Archived.
That is perfect. Guys, if you'd like to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. This show is here 5 days a week, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. If you'd like to listen to the show, we are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. And if you'd like to follow the show on social media, we are on Twitter at PopCulture_show, Facebook and TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, and on Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. We will be back with a special guest tomorrow. We'll see you then, guys.
Bye.
Bye.